Good morning. It is 8:30, so we will get started with the Education Committee. Welcome, everyone. I believe we do have a quorum present. All members are here and Angela is on Zoom. So we have full attendance for the Education Committee. Thank you for doing that. The on-site packet.
Yes, there is an on-site backup. There were just two documents. One is actually just an update of the site visit schedule. We had a change. So I wanted you just to see it, especially for those of you who are on the schedule. And then just apologize, a timeline for Fort Scott, since we were doing a follow-up. We wanted to make sure you had the history going into so it kind of goes along with the site visit report for that section. So that's in there as well.
Thank you very much. Additions or revisions to the agenda, I would like to make one revision to the agenda. Under the new business, there is a report from Hutch Community College for a major curriculum change request. It did not get put on the agenda, but it is in the packet. So we're going to add that. Also, Benedictine has requested to go first under major curriculum so that someone can attend a funeral. So we're going to put them as number 1, and then Hutch is number 2. Then Salina is number 3, and Emporia is number 4. And then keep moving down the line unless there's any objection to that. Okay, any other additions to the agenda? Announcements, I believe, Carol has an announcement for us this morning.
Thank you very much. I wanted to introduce our new general counsel from the Attorney General's office, Nicole Turner and Jordan Atkins. So you will see them around. Thank you.
Welcome.
Nice to meet all of you.
Thank you for coming. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Nicole Turner. I'm an assistant attorney general and I'll be serving as general counsel for the board. I've been with the office for about 2.5 years, so I'm very excited to join your board and assist you all.
Welcome. And Jordan.
Yes, my name is Jordan Akins. I'm also an assistant attorney general at the attorney general's office. I will be serving as co-general counsel with Nicole, and I've been with the attorney general's office since August. So I'm really excited to start working with them.
Great, wonderful. Thank you very much. Any other announcements for anybody? Okay, we have our. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yes, we do. Thank you. We need to make a motion for our amended agenda. I move to approve the agenda as amended. Thank you, Ruth. Second.
Awesome.
Thank you, Debbie. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Thank you. Yes, keep us in line. Okay, next up, we have our approval of minutes from our December 9th meeting. It was a rather lengthy meeting.
I move to approve the December 9th, 2025 Education Committee minutes as written.
Thank you, Patty.
I'll second.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Abstentions, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, the nursing education staff report, and that begins on page 14. Thank you, Patty.
Okay, well, thank you, Madam Chair. I think I will do a couple things here. The changes in program and program administration, I just want to bring your attention to a couple of things there. We did have some rather several things that were happening. Emporia State University is opening a brand new kind of a health sciences, health and wellness building. And so the nursing program is going to be moving on campus for the first time. And I think since they started the nursing program, they've been in a building that's next to the hospital, which has been good, but it's been off campus. So they have a new building with new simulation labs, and they're really excited about that. Plus a big new student wellness center that will kind of hopefully be a hub for the community there as well. Donnelly College, did announce that they have a new director of nursing that was effective January 5th, Tina Taylor. Blake is here, and Laura Sampson, who we met the last time, as the interim, is staying on as the assistant director. So wanted to make note of that change for them. Mid-America College of Health Sciences has a new director for their PN program that was effective January 2nd. Natalie Roberts Wilner will be there. She has been there as faculty, I believe, for I know at least a year, maybe two, and has taken on the director role there. Emporia State, guess I could put those together, also has a new interim. Caitlin Haddock, who's been there also as faculty, has stepped into that interim role, and she'll be serving as the interim assistant dean for nursing, and that was effective February 16th. And then Hutchinson Community College, we've had Allison Casebold has been the director there for their ADN program. They've had a separate PN coordinator. They had one retire 2 years ago, and then their most recent one also retired. So Allison kind of took the interim role for both. And so they made some changes, and she is now over both programs, and they will also be looking for a kind of an assistant that will be off with the PN program on that other campus, because they're on two separate campuses, but she will serve as the director for both. I think other than that, just a note about the annual report. So we've been working with the National Council on our annual report now for 4 years, I believe. We just finished our 4th year. Right? Yes. There's been a decision on their part. They're working to not make changes from here, so that they have a national database that they've set up. It's on their website now. It's an interactive database. Kansas is included on that. That's kind of where our dashboard came from that we now have on our website. Is you can look at all Kansas programs. We put that on our website. It is interactive. They're going to begin doing dashboards, I think, for each individual state as they can get those ready. Kansas was the first, so we're excited that happened. But in order to kind of preserve how that's looking and how we can make those comparisons, they're really working at keeping the base questions now as steady as possible and not making changes unless they're absolutely necessary from here. So we can really look at the trends for those questions over time. I will be sending out the links for that soon for all of our folks. We did not make any changes to our additional questions this year. We did make one change last year and made an addition. So they're asking we try not to make any additional changes, which doesn't affect everybody else because the additional questions are just ours. So I do the reporting on that. But we did add the questions about looking more at what's kind of giving programs the most problem. We were looking at, is it faculty? Is it lack of qualified applicants? What's kind of going on? So we did add, I think, 3 additional questions last year to kind of address that so that we can look at some trending in that. And the workforce had kind of looked at that too. And when they'd asked some questions a year ago, and we did kind of an informal survey, it really became apparent that maybe that would be a really good addition to our annual report as well. So we did leave that in there. So going forward, we're going to try and keep it as much as possible and doing some adjustments to the instructions page to make sure after some auditing of some of the reports, there's still a few questions that I'm not sure everybody's getting to quite the same answer on some of the numbers about how they get to those. So I want to just try and clarify those as much as possible. Y'all did all of our programs did a great job this last year. We had a couple that just struggled with numbers, and I'm not sure why, but I'll be working with them hopefully this year to make sure we get back on track with that. So I think that's the biggest thing that's coming up for us in education. And I'm going to let Ruth talk to LMHT later. We did have one meeting, a lot going on this quarter. And I think that's all that I have, unless there are questions. I'd be glad to try and answer them.
And remind me, when is our NCSBN report due? Is that June 30th?
It's June 30th
Okay.
for.
Just as a
this program.
reminder for nursing administrators, June 30th. That data will need to be entered.
Great.
Thank you. Okay. And the rest of the information in the consent agenda is on there. You can make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion amongst the committee about anything else that's included on the consent agenda?
Just a reminder that the site visit schedule, in the on-site is the
Yes.
new one, so.
Yes, don't reference page 22, use the on-site one. Thank you.
This is Debbie. I'll move to approve the consent item agenda, which includes nursing education staff report, education complaint log, 2026 site visit schedules, petition to test, retest summary for November 8th, 2025 through February 20th, 2026.
Thank you, Patty. Or Debbie, sorry, I'm looking at Debbie saying yes.
I'll second.
Patty wanted to second. Thank you. Have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Thank you, Debbie and Patty. Okay, we will move to our site visit reports, starting with Neosho County Community College. Are they here in the, or on? Yep, I see them. Good morning. Morning. Would like to take a moment to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Laura Mallett. I'm the director of the program. I'm Tammy Russell. I'm the assistant.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming. And so your site visit was February 3rd through the 5th, and Patty and Janelle completed that. Is there anything you would like to share after looking through the report or anything?
No, just thanking them for coming.
Okay. And as you get through to the recommendations, which page 34 are the strengths. Very few opportunities on page 35. And the recommendation from the site visitors was approval of the ADM program for the time of national accreditation. Any discussion from our site visitors?
We did do the visit with ASIN, so they were there as well. I would say, yeah, we had a few little moments, but I think we got everything looked through, everything was good. As a lot of the programs know, staffing changes like sometimes day by day, so they've had some challenges, but have really, I think, done a good job of getting back in there and supporting their students, and maybe sometimes to the detriment of their own schedules, but have done a good job of keeping that going, so.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Any question? The committee. Okay.
This is Debbie. I move to accept the reapproval site visit report with recommendations for Neosho County Community College ADN program and recommend approval for the time period of national accreditation.
Thank you, Debbie. Also, thank you, Patty. We have a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? No. Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Laura and Carrie. I'm sorry. That's okay. I had to think for a minute too. Okay, next is Fort Scott Community College. Hi. Good morning, Vicki.
Hi,
You'd like to take a moment to introduce yourself.
I'm Vicki Later from Fort Scott Community College.
Thank you for joining us this morning. And that visit begins on page 36. And then as a reminder, there is also a document in the on-site packet with kind of history going back to 2023. Just because you come to join us every meeting for the last years, and we appreciate that. So, the report goes through, and again, the strengths, several wonderful strengths, which I do want to tell you, thank you for the hard work you've done, and I've looked over this data very thoroughly.
I have a great faculty and nursing consultants, just wonderful.
Yes. The strengths are on page 47, a few opportunities on page 48, and then the recommendation. One thing that I did want to note that I pulled out of the onsite, or I'm sorry, out of the report from the site visit, 2024, your NCLEX pass rate was 93.3 and 2025 was 88%, which is phenomenal. So especially when you look at historically at where this was, we won't talk about the early 2020s. So that is significant. So your hard work and your faculty, everything they are doing to strengthen the program is looking wonderful. Committee, any questions for the site visitors? This was Karen and Janelle. Or any discussion of any of the documents? Or questions for Vicky?
I think that the biggest concern that I saw was attrition rates. Can you? Yeah, just basically.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed in the report that, it was stated that our attrition rate was 50% for the last 5 years. For fall of 2023, it was 43%. Spring of 2022, we did have 60. Fall of 2022 was 75%, but spring of 2022 was 29%. So that went back 5 years. But our attrition rate is getting better. We're working on that. We put student success program in place, remediation.
So how many of you, what is your accounts been when they first come in before anybody leaves? What is your normal count for students?
Well, this last fall, 2025, we had 17. And then, of course, we didn't take a fall admit, spring admit, so.
And
then
then
now
now your plan moving forward is to only go to the fall.
That's correct, yeah.
How many of the 17?
How many of the 17 stayed?
I have 10.
You have 10.
Mhm. And that wasn't due to academic, I had several personal issues there. I think 2 of those was academic.
Okay, and then I saw it. But for the site visitors, you guys had put something in about faculty attrition.
I mean, just because we've had some issues with that, we know that the turnover can cause issues. We've seen that with others as well. So we're just looking at where we were in 23, and there has been turnover. They've been able to get some faculty back that have retired, so there are some that are coming back. Some of them, and they found a new one last year and then another new one this year. So yes, it has been a little bit of a turnover. And also with the director, just because of the issues now, you've been there it'll be a year. And
November of 24, or
as interim, and then, yes, and then was made director. I thought it said June.
May, June, yeah.
So that at least has been almost a year, well, it has been a year with the interim. So as long, I think we're looking for that stability in the director and in the faculty. Because that's one of the things the students mentioned, was just having kind of the new people kind of coming in and out and not being sure. I think they did say it has improved. This semester was definitely, we heard, trying to get them to focus on, okay, where are we today? So we knew there were issues, and we had a lot of those, that we tried to address, but then moving on, they felt a lot more positive about the faculty they have now. In terms of their full-time faculty, they're still a little frustrated, I think, with the clinical, but that's.
We
Yes,
have
we get some
stability in our clinical instructors. They've been coming back year after year. So I have 2 that have been there year after year for several years now. So yeah, we're doing very well. I feel good about it. I feel really stable about it. I don't think that we have any other problems like any other college do as far as staffing and faculty and things like that, but we're working on that and going to with the fall admit.
Right.
You know, it's not like we need 4 full-time faculty on staff, so.
Right, getting that stabilized was a really important thing, so you have addressed that by doing the one admit. I mean, and just the other thing, just as a note, one of the things happened, they did move the nursing program on campus, we talked about this last time, I think, which was really positive for the program.
It was, yeah.
The one thing I think it did do though, is it did kind of crunch down their space a little bit, at least for now, so they do have capacity for 20. But not for the 40 unless they go in 2 different groups. So that was one of the things that we just wanted to make sure. And they've talked about that. When we talked about it when we were there, just in terms of kind of where it has been and why the 20 now is more because of space than anything else. But also, I think creating that stability of the 20. And then if they look to want to go back to another kind of admission or even another cohort, then to come back and talk about that. But yeah, they do have the capacity for the 20 now, which we've been trying to get back to.
Yes, yes.
Any other questions from the committee?
I actually do have a question.
Okay.
So is there a plan for admitting 20 more in terms of space? Has that been discussed and decided?
I think we talked about going back to a spring admission, which would give us another 20, but that's just talk at this time. We want to be stable with our admissions in the fall before we, and
Right.
make sure we have faculty on staff that could help,
Which would
utilize.
be part of the plan, looking ahead and doing the strategic plan and
Yes,
making sure you had enough class and lab room space at the same time, for the different cohorts and then faculty as well and clinical faculty.
the other option we talked about is having like a morning and an afternoon cohort, two cohorts, but again, that's just talk at this time. We want to make sure that we're stable, we have enough faculty, we have a plan going forward, and that we can definitely take care of our students. And we want that student success. We, want our students to be able to have the correct.
And congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We're
Yeah,
gonna-
everybody's worked really, really
Oh, my
hard.
goodness.
And Vicky, you might also just tell, but you have some new administration too.
We
Who
do.
might have, they might push you a little bit, but they also maybe the experience, so you might want to just let them know about that, because that's also always when we have administrative changes above, especially when you've had 2 or 3 presidential changes along with the nursing changes, so that's always challenging.
Yeah.
For any program,
Yeah.
but you might want to mention.
Okay, we have Dr. Jack Welch, he's our president now. Very motivating. Very supportive. The administration is very supportive. Has never told me no on any of the requests that I've had for our, nursing program. Then we have Larry Guerrero, he's our new Vice President of Academic Affairs. Again, very motivating, always offering great suggestions, great support.
Experience too.
Very experienced, yes, yeah. He comes from his previous college they had a wonderful nurse. He's always telling me, oh, we had this, and I said, we want to get to that. We want those things. So he's a good supporter and fighter for our program. He wants to see us grow. So yeah, they're very, very motivating.
And it is wonderful that you also have a hospital opened in Fort Scott again.
Yes,
One of your
yes, looking
sites,
forward to
so.
taking students there in the fall. Yes.
That's good. Too.
And they're wanting us, they're very supportive part of our administrative or our advisory group, so.
Yes. So there were 2 motions drafted. We also are open to accepting a new motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to accept the focus site visit report for the Fort Scott Community College ADM program. Now, do I read both? Is that?
No, you
No,
pick
just
which
which one.
one, and I think that also needs to maybe be a
I
discussion
think
if we,
so.
Yeah.
if we feel either of these are
Yeah, I
appropriate
don't
or a
think
new.
we're ready
I
yet.
do not feel either of those
Thank
are
you.
probably the most appropriate recommendation. If someone else would like to make a new motion.
Do we have the NCLEX pass rates for 26 for them?
we'll just be getting ready for, the first quarter, but there were only, I think there were two December grads.
One of them's
and-
already passed, one's taking it next week.
Yeah,
So
so.
right now it's 100%.
Yes,
Probably one of.
We'll take it,
Well,
right?
you'll have more graduates.
yes.
In
May,
Yeah,
Yeah.
nine graduating in May.
Yeah.
We on an upward trajectory, so I feel comfortable with that.
Okay, would you like to make a new motion?
Okay. I don't have it written out and I don't have Patty's prowess with wordsmithing, but I will say I move to accept the focus site visit report for the Fort Scott Community College ADN program with recommendations to include full approval. Is that, yes, and then I'll
And then
discuss.
also the other piece of the motion about admissions, because right now they run on non-admission. We've been allowing them a one time. So
With
that
full
was the-
approval, would
With
that not
full
give them
approval.
permission to begin?
I guess the other question is at the 40 that they have or at the 20, at the 20 level. That was the
The
other.
20 to, it sounds like they're not ready to move ahead with the 40.
Okay. So we have a motion for full approval,
Mhm.
20 students each fall.
I would say that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just have concerns with the attrition. I mean, they haven't admitted 20, I don't believe even in the past. I mean, like when we granted it in the last couple of years, I don't know that they ever got to the 20, but then the attrition is still high with the students and with Vicky being new. And what'd you say, you have one new faculty that's from last year and one new from this year?
Those are the full time.
Yeah. And I think we all know that attrition, if it's only been 2 for academic, we all have
Yeah.
students that
Yeah.
personal. We can't really account for that in attrition when they choose to leave the program for personal reasons versus academic reasons.
So out of the 7 that's gone, how many were academic? How many?
She said 2.
2 were academic?
Yes, so that's very low for academic.
Madam Chair, I would like to, my opinion on this, my thoughts on it, is to give them a try. It can always come back. It sounds like 2 out of 7 is not terrible in light of the NCLEX has improved so dramatically. And you've been there at the community college for quite a while
I have.
in that director role now for over a year. So I think that that warrants an opportunity.
And like any program, if you will drop below 80, we'll be talking again.
For sure.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
let's hope that you continue on the trajectory of, 93 and 88%.
Yes, yes.
And with larger numbers of cohorts of students, your pass rate is going to continue to improve if you have higher versus when you have 10 to 11 students, it really doesn't take many to go below 80. So I think you've stabilized a lot of things. The site visit report is very commendable. Thank you. So we have a motion, we have a second, we've had discussion. Karen, yes. Any other discussion before we vote? All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Abstention. Motion carries. Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for coming every quarter to give us updates. It has been very helpful.
Thanks.
Okay. Next is Johnson County Community College PN program.
She here?
I think,
She's on a plane.
Oh,
but I can't remember Margaret's last name.
Colton is, there's some.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm not on the plane yet.
Anybody else or? Christina. is
Dr.
there
Margaret
anyone-
McKenna was gonna join me.
Colton, if you can move Margaret over. Thank you. Are you at the airport, Christina?
I'm in the hotel lobby.
At the hotel.
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll give a minute for Margaret to be moved over.
Yeah, just in case my Wi-Fi cuts out or something.
Okay, and the report begins on page 49. And then goes through to page. Strengths on page 59, again, several strengths, only 2 opportunities, and then a recommendation.
And just to remember, this was a standard 5-year reapproval visit for the PM program at Johnson County Community College.
Okay, and I think I see Margaret is. Thank you for joining us. Christina, Margaret, is there anything you would like to share with us?
No, just thank you, Janelle and Patty, for coming. We really appreciated the feedback and a successful visit, ready to charge on for the next 5 years. We got a lot of change coming in the next 5 years.
Yes.
Right.
Wonderful. Okay, so the recommendation from the site visitors was for approval for 5 years with the next scheduled visit in 2031. Any discussion from the site visitors?
Think so, really strong. The faculty were just great. It was really good to talk with them about all that they're doing.
We've got some curriculum changes coming up, but they're very well thought out so far, and they're gonna make it happen.
Good. And maybe
Very positive changes.
building changes too in the.
Yes.
Yes, we are hoping to break ground this fall.
Wow. That is
They're
excellent.
trying to get the PN program moved over to the main campus, new building.
Yes, the
They've
Health
been-
Center of Excellence.
Mhm.
Yes,
Right.
exciting times.
I move to accept the approval site visit report for Johnson County Community College PN program and reapprove the program for 5 years.
Thank you, Karen.
I'll second.
Thank you, Patty. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 No. All of them, motion carries. Thank you. Oh, abstentions. Were there any abstentions? Didn't think so. Okay, thank you, Christina. Safe travels. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
Okay, this is when we're getting a little off the agenda schedule, so everyone helps me. I think I have them numbered correctly. We are gonna start, number 1 is gonna be Benedictine.
Yes, and Jackie should be on.
Okay, and Colton will meet Jackie, please.
Jackie Harris.
Let's see here. That is on page 76 of your packet.
Are you seeing that on the list, Cole? I
Um,
don't see it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing them. Could they maybe
Yeah.
go by a different name?
Or college, just their
no,
college.
it may just be that she was expecting to.
Wait, it's Benedictine, right? I've got a Benedictine College Department of Nursing.
Let's do that.
Thanks, Colton.
I try to remind people to put their names, but that'll work. too.
Sometimes it happens automatically.
Yeah, that's true.
That looks like.
Looks like
Yeah,
Jackie's
looks like she's
picture.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you for, sorry, I couldn't change my name when I logged in.
That's
Yes.
okay.
And thank you for allowing me to go a little bit early on the agenda. So we fully implemented our revised curriculum the end of the spring semester. So the faculty got together this summer to talk about what additional changes we needed to make. We really looked at a lot of the student feedback. And the students and the faculty agreed that we should decrease our leadership class hours since we cover leadership throughout our curriculum now. So we'd like to decrease that class from 3 credit hours to 2 credit hours. And we would like to increase our synthesis class from 1 credit hour to 2 credit hours.
Okay. You're just shuffling the 1 credit between 2 courses.
Correct. So we're not changing our overall credit hours.
Any questions from the committee for Jackie?
I move to accept the major curriculum change request from Benedictine College BSN program to 1, increase NURS 4900 synthesis from 1 to 2 credit hours, and 2, decrease NURS 4600 professional nursing leadership from 3 to 2 credit hours.
Thank you, Patty.
I'll
Thanks,
second.
Karen. Okay. I
It's
think
okay.
Karen beat you slightly.
It's okay.
Thank you. Angela, there's just a slight delay when you, so we missed it. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Abstentions. Motion carries. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Okay, we will go back to the order of the packet with the addition of Hutch Community College being first, and Allison is here. She's coming from the back. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Would you like to introduce yourself and explain your request
Yeah.
for us, please?
So Allison Casewell, Director of Nursing from Hutch Community College. Through faculty, student and advisory board feedback, the program is requesting to have medical terminology be the required prerequisite as opposed to the optional medical terminology or nutrition. And then retiring the standalone pharmacology course, but incorporating that content into the foundations of nursing. So shifting those credit hours, 1 credit from the pharmacology to the foundations. And then increasing maternal child nursing from 2 to 3 credits as well. And then the final change is retiring the nursing care of the aging adult, which faculty and students found through review of that curriculum that there was a lot of overlap from adult 2. And so changing that course to a community health-based course.
And your overall credits remain at
Remain the
47.
same, 47.
Any questions?
Move to accept the major curriculum change for Hutchinson Community College PN program to do all of those things. I would be happy to do that. Here.
Okay. We have a motion.
For Carl, second.
Thank you, Ruth. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Abstentions, motion carries. Thank you, Allison. Okay. Next, we have Salina Area Technical College ADN program.
And Naomi is traveling, so she will be on Zoom. Colton, I apologize for sending the late notice this morning. But there are also 2 folks from the school. So I believe there's 3 of them, or there's only 2 that need to be moved over. Because there are 2 of them that should be together.
And we have 2 motions here, so we'll,
Right.
she can discuss them, or whoever's gonna join us to discuss can do it together, but then we'll address the motions separately. Okay, I see Naomi,
And then Marky. And I think Tiffany and Marky are probably together, so
okay,
those should be our folks. Can you guys hear us?
Yes.
oh,
Good morning.
Good
good
morning.
morning. Would you like to explain the request a bit for us?
I'll let Naomi. I'm Marky Townsend though, and I can't figure out how to turn on my video.
Okay, I see Naomi.
Good
morning.
morning. Sorry, it's delayed. I'm sitting in a hotel, so the internet's a little delayed. I'm Naomi Tatro. I'm the Director of Nursing at Salina Tech, and Marky Townsend is joining us. She's an ADN faculty. We are proposing 2 changes. The first one is in our Nursing 220 course, which is complex care of the adult. It is a 10 credit hour course, currently 7 hours didactic, 3 hours clinical. We have found out that they are meeting their clinical objectives in 2 credit hours, and we could really utilize that last hour back in the classroom with applying and some other formats of knowledge. Our students, this is in their last semester, so this class is in their spring semester. And our students come to us as LPNs, and the majority of them are working. So we would like to see moving that to the same 10 credit hours, however, 8 in the classroom, as well as in the lab, and then 2 actually out for clinical. And then our clinical is 45 hours to 1 credit hour.
It's about 9 hours.
So that is actually the second motion we have. Do we want to discuss both, or would we like to go ahead and move on this motion?
We can move on it. Move to accept the major curriculum change with Salina Area Technical College ADN program to change NUR 220 complex care adult from 7 didactic and 3 clinical hours to 8 didactic and 2 clinical credit hours. Course will remain a total of 10 credit hours.
Thank you, Karen.
And I'll second that.
Thank you, Ruth. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Abstentions, motion carries. Okay, and the other request for your 230 class.
Yes, thank you. We are wanting to change our nursing 230 leadership and management class, which is our last class they take of the program, to a hybrid version. We are finding out with this class, there's no lab clinical tied to it. There's no really hands-on outside of some things we do within the class. So we want some flexibility for our students and to help promote that success with them, to allow more of a hybrid. Testing and presentations and things like that will still remain in the classroom setting, but changing it simply to a hybrid.
Any discussion or questions? Okay.
This is Debbie. I move to accept the major curriculum change request for Salina Area Technical College ADN program to change NUR 230 leadership and management from face-to-face to a hybrid methodology.
Thank you, Debbie.
Second.
Thank you, Patty. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Abstentions, motion carries. Thank you, Naomi and Marky.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move to Emporia next, which is on page 78. I think we do hear it. Yes. Hello and welcome. Hello. Okay, if you would like to discuss your request.
Yes.
And introduce yourself
Yes.
as a new.
I know. Caitlin Haddock, I am the new interim assistant dean for 1 month. But I am bringing forward a request that was submitted before I came in, but our faculty had voted back in December at their faculty workshop to change the credit to clinical hour ratio. We have been, since I have been at Emporia State, at a 1 to 4, so there were 50 contact hours for every credit hour. And so they wanted to update that because that can be challenging for clinical placements, and we have made do for many years. But they are wanting to decrease that to a 1 to 3 ratio so that we can make that a little bit more accommodating for all parties involved.
Any discussion from the committee or question?
I move to accept the major curriculum change request for Emporia State University BSN program to change clinical ratios from a 1 to 4, 50 contact hours per credit hour to a 1 to 3, 37.5 contact hours per credit hour ratio. This will decrease clinical hours from 750 to 564.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Abstentions, motion carries. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, our next one is from WSU Tech, and again, they have two, one for their PM program and one for their ADM program. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Deshawn Willingham. I am the Dean of Nursing for WSU Tech.
And my name is Flora Diaz. I'm the Assistant Dean and Program Director for WSU Tech.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us this morning. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your PM request first?
Yes, so the request for our PN program is 10 new seats for a high school program. Goddard High School has approached us about starting a PN program with our Future Ready centers. And they have built a space, they have a space that they are willing to build for us, to house that program at their campus. And to ensure that the students are able to have a good clinical experience, we reached out to, Family Health and Rehab. It's an Axiom community in Wichita that's on the west side as well, so the students aren't traveling across town. They have agreed to host our PN program for both their foundations clinical and their NCA 1 clinical, with the understanding that if they're under 18, they're not able to use a lift.
Wonderful. A great way to start the pipeline for nursing workforce.
Yes, yeah, they already house our, one of our CNA and our PCT programs, so this would just be, just a pipeline into that PN program.
And remind me, will they stay on their own campus for the whole program?
They will stay on for that first year. In the fall, they will have the pharmacology and foundations course. In the spring, they would have the NCA 1 on campus. We would ask that they then enroll at WSU Tech for the spring, and then they would finish, it's kind of like our evening course, our part-time evening course. It follows that same progression. So in the summer, they would transfer over, have care of aging adults, gerontology. And then in the fall, they would complete the leadership, NCA 2 and maternal child. Yeah.
Great. Just gets them ahead.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the committee?
So do they get preferential treatment into, or are they guaranteed a spot to come in if they complete that first year of high school?
Yes, so that those 10 cohorts
Together.
would stay together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would have a faculty member at Goddard, so they wouldn't come to the campus. It would, like I said, the camp at Goddard is fitting a space for us with, including a lab.
Yeah.
For them to be on campus and attending school there.
Yeah.
Is that considered silent?
Yes and no, they'll be joining the main part of the program. They're just doing that first part. While they're doing their, yeah, so. It's not truly a satellite, I guess they wouldn't be admitted to that space. I don't know if that.
They don't finish at that
It's
point, so.
right.
This is something different. We haven't really discussed before.
Well, and I don't know, Carol, if you have any, I can't remember if there are any other wording. In terms of, I'd have to look, I wasn't thinking about it from that perspective since they finished with the other campus. And they would only be admitted to that campus if they're a Goddard High School student. It still is a separate place with a facility, so it probably would be considered. I mean, I'm just thinking through how we look at other satellites. You were admitting a cohort of students there. It does have facility, faculty, and so it might just be included then. We would call it a satellite space. We add it to if it's, I'm trying to think, where does that become? Is that adding the students? I guess it would, you could adding attendant students to a new satellite campus at the high school. Just to make note that that's where those 10 seats would be coming from. But again, eventually they join the other students on campus at Wichita
Do they
Tech.
have to apply, or just their being at Goddard automatically makes them, or do they have to apply to WSU for the second year?
They would have to apply to the college, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I think that would
probably just
to include it in the motion, so we
Okay.
have that. Because then going forward, they would become part of the site visit routine in terms of having.
That was a
Saturday.
satellite location. So while we're thinking about this, can you tell me a little bit about the program? This is fascinating.
The PN, the high school
Yeah.
program. And so, thank you for asking. We have a number of Future Ready centers, in Wichita. Our healthcare Future Ready Center is currently located on the campus where our nursing program is on South Harry. And the high school students come, to school there. They're able to, if they enroll in the PCT program, it has 5 certificates, that include phlebotomy, CNA, EKG, a PCT and something else. There's another certificate. There's also a CNA program that they're able to enroll into, and they're able to also get their CMA. And so this is, for us, a way to further our workforce in a direct pipeline into our nursing program. Because the PCT program houses the CNA, which is required for our LPN. This is just another way for us to open up the pipeline to get more students into the program, because some of them aren't really sure what they want to do. And so we're able to meet the needs of our local community by widening this pipeline. Goddard High School has a number of students, unbeknownst to us, and the school approached us that are interested in nursing. And so they were like, we'll make the space for your other programs, but we really want a nursing program. And so that, we're just blessed and honored to, that they came to us to be a part of that.
Yeah, and the way we've set it up and designed it, it's when that high school student graduates from high school, they have that summer and then one more semester, and then they are eligible to sit as long as everything is successful for their PN class.
I'm so sorry, but this is, what's the success rate so far? Because you have it, you said for the other high school students currently at your campus.
So we don't have a PN, we don't have a PN program for high school. This would be our first.
It's the
But
short term.
It's the short-term health, and they graduate 100 or more a semester. We have campuses in Derby, Mays, currently Goddard, Valley Center. The Wichita Public Schools come to the Future Ready space.
Yeah.
And so we have quite a footprint with our Future Ready programs.
And like she said, they graduate high school and they're already graduating with a certificate ready for the workforce.
And some of them actually graduate with us first before they graduate high school.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Just from the way she's talking about it, though, it does kind of sound like it's a satellite.
Okay, and I was just gonna say, I'm on the advisory board at Goddard, Goddard School District.
Yeah.
Especially for the biomedical and health professions, and we just had a meeting, and they were sharing the space and talking about bringing the PM program in for the high school.
Yeah.
We talked about it, the awareness of the biomedical center that's being built in Wichita. So just.
Yeah, we moved next spring.
We're excited.
Yeah, they're excited.
Yes.
Okay, I move to accept the major curriculum change request from the WSU Tech PM program to add 10 seats annually to support a high school pathway at Goddard High School, a satellite facility for WSU.
Thank you, Pat.
WSU Tech.
Tech.
Oh, yes, with the amendment of WSU Tech.
Tech.
Thank you.
Sorry, all second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. That was abstention. Motion carries. Thank you very much. That is an awesome program. We hope to hear more about it. Thank you. And then we'll keep you in your seats for the LPN to RN Bridge program.
Yes. So our,
So we currently have our bridge program that has enrollment in the spring, and then we'll start a new enrollment in the fall. However, we continue to have quite the pipeline of interested LPNs who are wanting to bridge. And even now, we discussed yesterday a way that we needed to amend some of our admission requirements, because we have people graduating from our PN and wanting to go directly to the AN program. So we are requesting an additional 10 seats for the summer only, to go from currently an admission of 10 to 20. They would then join 2020 traditional students that would enter into the third semester in the fall. We know that we have, nurses leaving our profession. And so this is our way to try to meet that demand with, having nurses at the bedside.
And we've had most of our graduates come to us and they're like, you know, we would love to stay with you. We're excited to stay with you guys. But then when they only find out that we only have 10 seats, they're like, oh, you know, it's such a disappointment for them. And so that was a way to also kind of help them progress to where they need to go.
You have 10 in the summer right now, correct? So you're adding 10.
So, yeah, and the way we worded it last time is that when that second year starts, we have 30 seats. So we add an additional 10, so then we have a mixture of 30 seats between traditional and bridge students. And so it would be increasing, it would be only one entry point. We're thinking or this is for the fall, instead of the 30, increasing it to the 40, so 10 additional seats. And again, a mixture of the traditional and bridge.
So just really primarily increasing your number of bridge students.
Yeah.
Any further questions or discussion?
All right, I move to accept the major curriculum change from the WSU Tech LPN to RN program to add an additional 10 seats annually beginning in summer of 2026. I'll second.
Thank you, Patty and Debbie. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Abstentions. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
you.
Good luck. We hope to hear more about these programs.
Yes, and you'll definitely have to come and visit us next summer, as we move into the biomed center. We'll be with Debbie.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of health services happening in one spot.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the Mid-America request. The Mid-American Nazarene Jennifer's coming up. Good morning.
Good morning.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about your request?
Yeah, so at Mid-American Nazarene University, we are requesting to open a direct entry MSN. We started this project last summer, over the summer. CCNE had been talking about it for a while and had been successful in other areas. And so we really started the project and then we watched KU take it through as well. And that really helped pave that way. And we're so appreciative to them. But we're here to get ours approved. Ours is slightly different in that it also has a leadership track where students not only graduate ready to take the NCLEX, but they have extra leadership credits. And so they have more of a seamless transition from those first couple of years at the bedside into a leadership position as well. With this, we're also requesting approval to add 50 seats and to start a second HBSN cohort. So we started a hybrid cohort last year. It's very successful and we'd like to start a second in January with our direct entry MSN. And so it's that combination.
Perfect. So that would raise your total annual enrollment to 230.
It would. And with that, we're hiring additional faculty to meet that need.
Wonderful.
So it's part of that hybrid program.
Yeah.
And just because I'm curious, when will they take their boards? Will they finish the entire program?
When they finish the entire program, yeah, those additional leadership credits are mixed in throughout so that when they finish, they have both and then can take their boards right away.
I think we should accept, I move to accept the change, sorry, for Mid-American Nazarene to add a new track in the existing Master of Science in Nursing program that will be a direct entry Master of Science in Nursing, DE-MSN, with a focus on leadership and increased annual admission capacity by 50 students from 180 to 230 annual all tracks.
Thank you, Karen.
I'll second. Was this real?
Okay.
Did you? That was mine.
Thanks, Ruth. Okay, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next we have Newman University, and Ruth Ashton is here to join us. We have some innovative ways to increase numbers in nursing programs. To meet our workforce needs.
Yeah, that's a good shout out.
Yes. Good morning, Ashton. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your request?
Yes, so we have a few requests in this. We also put in our updated prerequisites since our core curriculum with the college is changing in fall. We decided to look at our prerequisites and make any adjustments to those as well. And then also we updated our mission, vision, philosophy to kind of reflect the time that we're currently in and to be more aligned with AACN and the essentials. And we also updated our BSN outcomes as well to reflect that. And then we also had a major change to our curriculum. Some of it is dividing out courses, like we split out our fundamentals of pharmacology. Was a 2 credit hour, now it's a 1 credit. We pulled out dosage cap and made it its own course. And then also added a wellness intervention class for first semester as well, making it a hybrid. And then in second, third, and fourth semesters, we added a clinical practicum course. Currently out of our specialties, med-surg courses have clinical built into the didactic course. So we pulled clinical out so it's easier to evaluate those students and make sure it's just a little easier to evaluate them and separate that didactic from the clinical. And so those are 3 new courses in those semesters. We also are asking for evidence-based practice to be a hybrid and professional development to be a hybrid as well, just due to projects outside of class and meeting with instructors and so forth for that.
Any questions or discussion for Ashton?
Accept the major curriculum change request of Newman University BSN to revise the mission philosophy, vision, philosophy of the nursing program to better align with the updated program that includes the outcomes. You said also, update prerequisite requirements, revise curriculum to align with the 2021 ACN essentials, which includes separating didactic from clinical experiences, creating separate courses for clinical hours will go from 720 to 675. Adjustments to credit hours of 12 courses with the addition of 5 new courses and changing 3 courses to hybrid delivery methodology. This decreases the nursing credit hour by 60 to 59, but the overall program credit hours will remain at 120. Revise our course descriptions and course objectives to align with curriculum updates.
Thank you, Karen.
Mrs. Rudolph, second.
Thank you.
That's an amazing amount of work.
Yes. Even though there's lengthy paperwork, we know it was even a bigger project than what was consolidated to show us. We have a motion and a second and discussion. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Abstentions, motion carries. Thank you.
Just a reminder to
Oh,
check
yes.
what's in the speakers.
Okay, we'll talk for the people in the back. Sorry. After an hour, we're a little quieter, but we will.
The names are not ours. This particular.
Whoops.
It was
We'll
for,
make sure that's correct.
it was for the full board. Just scratch to that.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
I added my name on there.
okay.
just keep that off. I've got you.
I think we just had a copy that, but it was for the full board.
Okay. Oh, yes, just
But
right
I
your
typed
name.
on the
Okay.
page.
Thank you.
If you want now.
Okay. Okay, we are 1 hour and we are through the major curriculum changes. We next have the 2025 NCLEX report, or is anyone requesting a break before we move into the report? Committee, everyone's good. Okay, then we will move forward. The NCLEX pass rate report for 2025 begins on page 176 for our PN programs. And it's always nice how it's highlighted or bolded for all these schools. And I say all these schools because there are a significant number with 100% pass rate.
That would be 12.
Yeah, 12, thank you, Denai. I hadn't counted them, but I was just impressed to see that many. And you can see that the Kansas pass rate for PN programs was 92.79, and which is higher than the national average at 86.6. So for all of you in the room and online who teach in these programs, administrate in these programs, the clinical partners who help us in these programs, that's impressive. I think we all need to pat ourselves on the back for what we're doing, because you're getting a lot of great nurses out into the workforce, and passing boards, passing classes is one thing, but passing the boards to be into practice is even more important. So congratulations to everyone. Are there any, I mean, I see a few numbers that don't make me smile quite as much, because we have a few that are not at the 100% and a few that are below the 80%. Are there any we need to discuss or put on plans?
Just in terms of how the regulations have usually been applied when they're below for one cohort, we would send a letter of concern for that one year. For the ones that have more than 1 year below, the two that are in that situation are already on conditional approval. So at this point, I think that the point of discussion, Donnelly is already unconditional. They're not admitting new. So I think we're already dealing with that in that respect. I don't know that there's anything new to add to that. Mid-America American College of Health Sciences. This is one you might want to have some discussion. They were a new program. This is their third cohort. We're not seeing improvement. So they were the change that happened. So we were planning to do a site visit in March, but for various reasons, we needed to move it. So we were now not doing it to April. So in terms of what our regulation says, they're already unconditional. The next step would be to stop admissions. There's also the fact that we are doing a visit in April. So that would depend on you whether you want to wait for the site visit to happen or whether you want to deal with that now. So but that's just where we are in terms of regulation and the fact that they normally admit in the fall. So they only admit one time a year, but they do have 3 cohorts that they tend to admit to, the 3 different cohorts, but.
So they would actually be taking applications now.
Right.
So can we put unconditional without going?
They're already on conditions, yeah. But since they become a new program, they've always they haven't even passed out over from the new.
No, when I don't know, just a recollection. When we did the initial visit, there were some issues, so we kept them on initial approval for a while longer, went back to do a visit. Still some concerns with it, so the decision was to move them to get onto conditional, which there was a precedent for that as well. We had another program saying because there had been improvement from year 1 to year 2, it still wasn't near where we wanted to go, but at least we had that jump in improvement, so they were allowed to go ahead and admit. And so now we have another cohort through, plus now there's another one behind them. First quarter reports, since they only have 1 admission, there isn't a lot happening in terms of any, new I don't know. I think I did run it's almost the end of the first quarter, but I don't think there was only one new person who took the exam. So, and they did pass. So that's a positive. That was interesting though. The person who took it graduated in 24. So that was one of the issues that was happening early on, is just the delayed taking the NCLEX, but the fact that she passed, I think is amazing. I don't know what she did in the meantime, but So that was something they were working on, and it was something we would be following up with in terms of.
I know how many students they admit.
They can admit up to 20 students in 3 different cohorts, but I think their last, I don't know if they've ever been over 40. And I don't know what the current is,
So
because we
they
haven't
could
done a
admit
visit.
20 per cohort, so that's 60 a year.
Yeah, they have a day cohort, an evening cohort, and a weekend cohort. And I think the first time they admitted, they only did 2 cohorts because they didn't have enough students to do 3. But I believe in the subsequent years, they have some in each of those cohorts. And they've got the same, this right now, the same faculty is handling all 3 of those. They do have a couple of different folks doing clinical, but handling all 3 cohorts.
So does it have to be an all or nothing? Can we limit how many they admit instead of giving them carte blanche to 60, take that down?
That's up to you.
Or do we have to say it, you either admit or you don't admit, based on the way we admit, based on the way we gave them permissions through the initial?
So their site visit is April 13th, of course. And that will come to the June meeting. I just am concerned if they are
admissions, yeah.
already, but if they've had an application out and students were applying, assuming that they had conditional approval to admit for the fall,
You know, if that happens.
No, I don't see anybody here because they
Should be on the
they didn't have
legislation.
right.
And they've already admitted their letters of admission. Yeah.
13. Sorry, I can't remember what their side was.
So just, I'm sorry, I really should know.
Sorry.
What can we do for this? Do we have a precedent and what? It just seems like we're setting them up and the students up for failure if we continue this. They spend all that money.
So in retrospect, you could, if you were seeing improvement, you know, that would be one thing. I think that was because they have the site visit coming up, but precedent would say, and what your regulation says is that you have the right to put them on conditional and tell them to cease admissions, put a plan together, figure out what the issues are, address those, and then bring that back. And if issues aren't resolved, because they do have one more cohort graduating, and so you could say, don't admit anymore, let's see what happens with these. And then determine whether you move forward and leave them unconditional and let them admit again. If they've made enough changes, if it looks positive from this group that's graduating. It's just hard to know that, or denial, because that's what you have to, I think that's the precedent has been. Cease admissions, give them an opportunity, and then if it doesn't work, then you have the. Cause I mean, that's been the past, is the concern that the students are. Completing all of this and then not able to, I mean, it's a little over half, but. That tends to be significant.
So I don't see a deadline. It looks like it's just a rolling consideration.
So yeah, I don't know what's how they accept.
Yeah, I can register.
I think in the past, we probably waited a little bit too long to take some actions. Maybe
Yes.
not recent past, but certainly 5 years ago. I think at this point, my recommendation would be that we have them cease admission and being a site visit and results of their next one.
These cohort inputs.
Yes, and we wouldn't have that reported time for June, correct? I mean, we might have a few early testers, depending, I don't know when their semester ends, but usually not by the second week of June, we're not gonna get a lot. I mean, if we have someone from 24 that just tested in the
Yeah.
first quarter, yes.
Does that need to be more formal?
Well, we're still in the discussion, but we can accept a motion if we feel that is in the best interest of the students in the program. Because, I mean, 60s are better than the 40s that we had 3 years ago, but still significantly below our 80%.
Yeah, so
And
forties
this-
was their first one.
Yeah.
And we thoroughly reviewed that curriculum. Last time we saw the improvements that were made and the integrity of the curriculum. So the 62.86 doesn't reflect that cohort with the changes. I do think we need to see another cohort with the changes that we looked at and thought met the requirements from our last time.
And like I said, Debbie will be with me on that site visit, but we do still plan to go and review, especially the things that were, it's more of a focus visit than anything, but there were a lot of things that we needed to look at from the last time, so.
So definitely another visit is in order. Do you think it's warranted?
It's already scheduled.
It's already scheduled.
I think they put
Right.
it all, yeah.
Right, but do we think that we just want to wait till then in response to theirs? Okay.
Because I think based off of this,
Okay.
it's just a rolling registration, so the more people that get registered, it's gonna be harder to even
Right.
impose that after the visit, if we say that, yeah.
So then we've looked at all sides of it, yeah.
But we could still impose it now, but then by that time, we'll have some of the cohort has
Right.
tested, they have done a visit, I mean, we could rescind it or reverse it or
Okay.
make changes to it in June.
So if there are students they have already accepted, are we willing to say they can, like Janelle could reach out and say, those students, but you have to cease any
So they
further?
haven't started the program yet, though.
No, they
No.
wouldn't started the program.
No, but they could have sent admission letters to
They've
students.
already prepared.
Well, it's March for August, I don't know. I don't know what they do.
I think my suggestion would be that we do not.
They just let them know, yeah.
with. Okay. The cohorts that are in
Reach out as soon as
currently.
possible, just.
And they could reach out and say, you know, until pending action of the board.
Have we ever ceased admissions while the program is accepting applications?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're protecting them from the possible failure of their boards.
So we have done this before with the program.
Yeah, I mean, I think that option is always been, the NCLEX report has been kind of the. And if we want to reflect back to the annual reports that were submitted for the schools as well.
It was already here.
The number of,
three.
when we look at program summaries, when we look at the number of warning signs that are there, this is a program that has several.
So it says.
Yeah, it's just, we haven't looked at the R and this was just an attempt to kind of, to show you all where, what our normal, regulation, how we usually approach that. I didn't forget, we've had a couple times where we forgot to look at that.
Well, because it went down instead of up, and it had gone up so significantly the last time of the test rate.
Right.
So, do they have a new administrator? Did we read that in his
Yes,
report?
yeah, they had a new administrator, a year and a half ago. And then just had a change again. So in their 3 years, 4 years, they've had 3 administrators. So like I said, it's not everything you look at 1 year at a time. If you look at over time, there have been some things going on that kind of bring us to this point to say, okay, how much longer? What else do we need to look at?
And we just have the PN program.
Just the PN.
So we looked at the PN numbers, and then on page 177 and 178 are the BSN numbers, or I'm sorry, ADN and BSN numbers, so our RN numbers, which again, Kansas, we have an overall first-time pass rate of 89.05, and the national average is 86.7. So we are ahead of the national average. We'll take anything over.
And if you look below too, the breakout for ADN and BSN, it's also, we've maintained slightly above national average for both of those cohorts as well. Just wanted to point that out.
Yes. So does this need to be a motion to discuss all of this?
Yes, there's one motion for.
Yeah, I was just gonna just point out, we have, again, we have only We have three that are under the 80% standard. One is a new program. In the past, what we've done is we've looked at that the letter of concern would go out, and, for one program, and then Donnelly is one of the other ones. This is one where they have been on conditional approval since the beginning. We were seeing improvement. We were almost at 80% rate, and now we're kind of back down.
And
So-
Donnelly's current on a no admission.
Yeah, they're not admitting their, an option would be just to make sure we have an updated, improvement plan, for how they're moving forward. We already know that there's gonna have to be a site visit before anything else is done, so that's kind of, I don't know that there's any new, motion for that. And then WSU Tech, they were also a new program last year, had a little bit, we did a site visit with that, looked at all that they were doing, they did get ACEN initial approval. Rates really improved, but they just about got there, so we're hoping one more cohort will, give them, so basically for them, it would be a letter to update the improvement plan they had. They're still addressing it. I don't know if there'll be anything new, but according to our regulation and our history, those would be kind of the things that. And that's what you see in the potential motion are the things that we normally would address. With either a letter, a visit, or other.
Karen. I think you're ready to read it.
I don't know, I'll give this one a roll here. After review of the NXP and R reports, I move to direct the nursing education compliance officer to, let me start with the hard one, cease admissions to Mid-America College of Health Sciences until a site visit is made and another cohort gives us a more positive bolt score. That's that first one. So that's now to send the letter, we're gonna cease admissions. And request an updated pass rate improvement plan from WSU Tech ADN for the second year below standard. And letters of concern from the board for 1 year low pass rates to WSU Tech PN and Ottawa University. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Karen.
I will second.
Second by Patty. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no.
Abstain.
Thank you, Ruth. One abstention. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, good. Moving to unfinished business or break. It's short break. 9:53. Do we think we can take a 7-minute break and be back to start at 10? Okay, Colton, we're gonna take a 7-minute break and resume at 10 o'clock. Run to the restrooms. But yes, we'll Programs. Yeah.
It's ready.
Are we good to go? Okay, Ruth is missing. There was a slight line in the ladies' room, so we'll give her a second, but I think we have enough members present to move forward. Next is our unfinished business, and the first thing is reapproval of the undergraduate nursing programs.
So in December, this was on our agenda, but we missed it in your motion slip, so it just got overlooked, but we do need to we do an annual reapproval. And that's something that's a lot of programs are required to do updates. So we want to make sure we get that done and we can get those letters sent to the programs, but it would be retroactive for the year, for this year. From December, or from January 1 of this year through December 31st. There are a couple motions in there for, we basically do the full approval program separately from the conditional approval.
Okay.
I move to reapprove the PN, ADN, and BSN programs on full approval status from 1/1/2026 to through 12/31/2026.
Thank you, Patty. I'm sorry. Karen has a second. All in favor signify by saying yes.
This is a board again for us. The next ones are all board.
Interesting. It's that lovers, have you on?
No, I think we're just.
Anyone opposed? Abstentions, motion carries.
That is true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, I move to reapprove the conditional approval status of Donnelly College ADN and PN programs. Fort Scott,
No.
no.
Oh, that's right.
Mid-America, no. Well,
Yeah, they're still conditional.
they're still conditional, okay. I move to reapprove the conditional approval status of Donnelly College ADN and PN programs, Mid-America College of Health Sciences PN program, and Seward County Community College ADN program from 1/1/2026 through 12/31/2026.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Debbie. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Abstentions, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there one more? No, okay. Next, under unfinished business is additional information on the refresher courses for Kansas. You know,
If I might, thank you.
Yes.
I think you had all had asked at the last meeting, and if I can't remember if it was here or the board meeting, but I think it was here. We added 2 new refresher courses, to our list. Remember that after 5 years, we require a refresher course and we have certain requirements that have to be met. I think it was January of 22 or maybe more 23. I can't remember, but we did make a change to the refresher course requirements. We did lower the, not the didactic, but the, clinical portion to be more in line with what, we're still on the higher end, but a little more in line. So it gave more refresher courses out there an opportunity to become part of our list, since we only had 2 options for RN and 1 for PN. So when we did that, we have a couple of refreshers that found their way to us. And you had asked some questions about what do we know about them? What's their success rate? You still approve them, but you kind of wanted some information. So the first one, I just put an email in here because I asked some questions of the director of the Center for Nursing Excellence in Colorado. They have actually had a refresher program since 2004, but the Center of Excellence adopted that in 2022. So they've had about over 700 students, almost 800 have enrolled in one of their 4 courses. So they have what they call an RN refresher, a PN refresher, and then they have an RN and PN bite, which we're going with the basic refresher, but they have those 4 courses. So they've had about 700 students, and it looks like they have a pretty good track record for those students. They do allow extra time. They require this be done in 9 months. That's a little bit different than our South Dakota State University, I think, is a year. They said they made that change and they have found better outcomes by kind of pushing people to get it done. And by doing that and knowing that they only had that time, they got it done and they got it done more successfully. So I thought that was a great little caveat or something that they shared with us that they will be a good partner. They do have a one-time extension, 3-month extension that they can allow. They will pay extra for that, so it kind of behooves them to get it done. And she said our pass rate ranges from 89 to 94%, which is better than what we're seeing currently. And some of that may be we see a lot of people extend and some are successful, some are not. And I've intended to get you an updated report on our South Dakota State folks and with everything else. And they've had some changes too. So Linda and I are still trying to get an updated report on them, but I thought that was great. Sura College is strictly an RN program. They are new. They are approved out of the state of Arizona. So they actually officially opened in fall of 2025. So we're going with a little bit newer program there. If I haven't had anybody inquire about them, I've actually had one inquiry already about the Colorado program. So we'll see if that goes forward, but they're planning to give us an update after that first cohort finishes. And they've been very positive and good outreach from them in terms of working with them. So I think that will be a positive relationship and hopefully they can get it off the ground. They have I think the basic program looks really good. So hopefully it will give us another option. So that's all. I just wanted to give you that feedback.
Any questions or comments for Janelle? Okay, thank you very much. Moving next to Donnelly College updates for us. Yes. And this starts on page 181 of the packet. Good morning.
Good morning.
You take a moment to introduce yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Gina Taylor, Director of Nursing. Laura Sampson, Assistant Director of Nursing.
Okay, thank you. And there's a rather lengthy report of some of the updates that have taken place, what you've submitted to KSBN. If you want to give us a synopsis.
Yes, ma'am. We'll just go from what our recommendations were. We had a recommendation to update the simulation coordinator job to make sure that it was MSN since we had RN and ADN. That has been done along with the simulation coordination job. We're not teaching any simulation, but we do and have hired a certified MSN, RN, and simulation, and she's redoing the entire simulation currently. So that has been accomplished. On student policies and admission policies, we're looking at and revising all of those. We're in collaboration with our admissions department. So we're working on, they already had voted to do TEAS test for entrance. We're not changing anything and have not changed any handbooks or anything, so the students are aware of all that. But moving forward, we are looking at getting our level, doing our benchmarking with TEAS, just to make sure that we're getting the right people in the right seats. Student representatives, we do have an on-site internal student governance. And so we made sure that our current students, which are 37 students, 36 are PN and 1 RN that had to retake a class, that they were sent out an email, that they were informed of that we have a nursing internal, so that they know they could be a part, what was the reason for it, and that we needed their input to make our to strengthen and to keep our program strong. As far as the progression policy was submitted to Ms. Janelle, and it streamlined to everything, so there wouldn't be any questions. You cannot, once you take the first semester, you cannot move on until you have completed all of it, and that goes in line with everything. So there's a clarification for that and gone with that. As far as our nursing organization chart, our current one, we submitted that to Ms. Janelle. Orientation, which was one of our the biggest recommendations, I believe, as far as having new faculty. Our faculty has been consistent, so we still have our faculty from last semester. We are working diligently. We have a checklist that we can just show you on site that, and I'll let Miss Laura just talk because she's kind of taken over that as long as going with the thing. So I'll let her talk about our extensive orientation and professional development.
So, that's been my primary focus is faculty development, and orientation. So we did do a complete orientation at the beginning of the semester, and we'll do it as needed as we hire new faculty. That included going over the Donnelly College handbook, the nursing handbook, and the nursing student handbook. And there is a orientation checklist that we are following and using. We're doing a lot of, like just giving them resources, curriculum resources. Did training on Canvas, on Empower. ATI has been a big, thing that we've been training on. We did a complete training, just an overview product training on 2.4, and then on 3.13, we did a policy and, placement, training, which would help us with getting our ATI policies and how we're implementing ATI into our courses. And then on 4.10, we will have another training with ATI going over things like health assessment, skills modules, case studies. There's a whole list of things that we're going to go over. And also this summer, they're going to do an on-site training with us. So a lot of training, just utilizing ATI, because we really weren't utilizing it as we could be. Did some training on ExamSoft, and then our exam analysis committee that we have. We're putting together some additional training on ExamSoft and exam analysis. We have a flow sheet that we're just needing to instruct the faculty on how to do that and utilize the flow sheet. So that's all currently in the works. Teaching them about the location of our policies and procedures, and utilizing the syllabus as a contract and not making changes to that syllabus mid-semester. We have a lot of subcommittees that we have had faculty join in on. The curriculum, again, ExamSoft and exam analysis, one on policies and procedures, so we're going through all of those. And another one on clinical management. One of the things that we have done is just collaboration with the general Donnelly community. As far as, so making sure that the faculty know what our resources are. So if it, counseling, financial aid, all those kind of resources that we have. As far as faculty development goes, professional development, we did sign up with Nurse Tim. I have been assigning staff different modules to watch. And I do have a spreadsheet that we could show you when you guys come to a site visit, showing where I'm keeping track, was tracking and trending, what everybody's doing there. We have also signed up for their additional new faculty orientation. So all the didactic instructors with less than 3 years, including myself, we have been taking the new faculty orientation through Nurse Tim that started in March. It ends on 4/5. And I'm also tracking and trending to make sure that the faculty are doing that, which is pretty much all of the didactic faculty. We also did some orientation specifically for the clinical faculty. We did that in January. So clinical faculty had to go to the overall faculty orientation, and then we did an additional one for just the clinical staff. Most of us went and did the clinical faculty academy, which was at the Nazarene College on January 8th and 9th. That was really great. I also went to that. And then there are a few that didn't make it to that, but there is a virtual one on 5/6 and 5/7. But my preference is for them to go to the in-person one in July at Rockhurst University. So I've already sent out for them to save the date and make sure that they go to that. That is mandatory. The other thing that we're doing is working with our simulation consultant. She's getting like Dr. Taylor said, things in order in our simulation lab, but she is going to do some training for all clinical and didactic faculty to be trained in simulation. So, we could easily step in and help with that. The other thing is our faculty have mentors from Johnson County Community College. So I did reach out to Johnson County, and we got them assigned to seasoned instructors. They have been in contact with them. I've been emailing through email just to make sure that everyone is actually doing it. And so, that's been something that we've been doing. One thing during our clinical orientation for our clinical staff was our interim clinical coordinator put together a really good binder for each of the clinical staff that included the orientation, all of our clinical policies, the paperwork, the syllabus, the clinical student communication form, which is a form that we give to whoever was precepting the student that day, have a QR form, a QR code. So the preceptors can give us feedback on our students and how they're doing in the clinical site. So that binder was really helpful with helping that clinical faculty be able to really understand what we're doing. We did have our boot camp in January, on January 7th for our day cohort, and January 10th for our evening cohorts. We went through IV therapy, heart and lung sounds, NG2s, Foley insertions, and we're doing another one, April 4/18, the 21st, and then 4/25. Another boot camp where we did just get approval for the students to be able to do live sticks for IV therapy. And so some of them have been able to do that check off in the clinical site. Some of them, the opportunity just has arose. So for those people, we will get them done before they graduate for that IV live stick. So that's pretty exciting that we're able to do that on site in the lab now. We'll be doing a final head to toe check off with them, a professionalism role play with them during that, as well as probably another skill. I'm kind of thinking about wound care, but we'll be doing those checkoffs with them as well. So.
Okay.
And as you see, just to add to that, I know there was a recommendation for us to get a nurse consultant to look, and we have done that, and we submitted that to Ms. Janelle. For ATI, we used their nurse consultant to go over and kind of do an overview of our program. So we are, we've done step 1. So step 2 will be actually working with the faculty as we're incorporating ATI every major course, so that we're making sure that not only is it incorporated, which we've already had one session on remediation, but remediation is not just for students who are not doing well. Remediation is for everyone. That's the only way that you're going to make sure that you're giving safe, competent nurses. So we are doing that with them. And like I said, our next session will be with the faculty to how to incorporate this, how to really use, and we've had one for remediation, but really how to tone in and understand why remediation is so important. So the ATI consultant is helping us with that. Our clinicals were another thing that was an opportunity. We've done very well with that this semester. The students had their clinical schedules way before the semester started. We've been working with them. I've done some on-site at some of the clinicals just to see how it's going from the student perspective and from the faculty perspective. And so that has been going really well, and just really kind of resetting that there is a structure. We're following the structure, we're following the handbooks, and just having conversations, strengthening our communication, not only with the students, but with the faculty and with our community at Donnelly, that nursing is a part of Donnelly, not separate from Donnelly. So we've been working on that. Other things that we're asked for as recommendations is that all of our students who graduated in 2025 We only know of 8 of the 14 graduates from the RNs that have passed. We know a couple didn't pass. We're not sure the numbers of the PNs, but they should be coming in pretty soon. It sounds really positive, and I think that is attributed to Dr. TR works with them at ATI. They have the resources for that. They can come, even though they're postgraduate, to come and help. And she has incorporated with all of our students that are current, that they're working through NCLEX, getting prepared, and they know afterwards that they would have that. We've also, Nurse Advisory Committee, we did have our Nurse Advisory Committee in February 27, which was very powerful. We had external and internal, and just talking to the clinical nurse at some of our sites. What do we need to improve? What can we do to work with them? So that was really good. And all of the policies that, like great appeal policies, have and are going through our Donnelly process and have done. With one of our strengths is our faculty know they're important, and we have subcommittees, like Ms. Laura said. We're working with ExamSoft, and we have Dr. Megan taking a hold of that, making sure that we understand not only having in-services, but being there to help the faculty and all of us through that curriculum, policies, looking at every detailed policy and making sure it's current for the students that we serve today. So to lead those in our, one of our things, Ms. Laura Ms. Janelle sent us the concerns because we had so many concerns, and Ms. Laura went through each one, and she looked at the statutes, look at the regulations, making sure that currently we're meeting all of those. And we do talk to students. We go, myself and Ms. Laura have gone to the classrooms, we're meeting with them just to make sure that they know they're not just out there and that there's a structure, but you have to be safe, you have to be confident, you have to be professional, and you have to have a high integrity to be a nurse in Kansas.
So I have a question. How many current students do you have in your PN program and then again in your RN program?
Okay, so we have 36 current students in the PN program and only one RN that's retaking pharmacology.
Okay. And they'll finish in, the RN student will finish in May?
Yes.
Okay, and then how many students from your PN program will graduate in May?
Everyone will walk. We have 2 students that need to do maternal child. So maternal child will be offered starting June 1st. And they're part of the current students. They're not new students. So we've talked to them and they're gonna go, they're gonna do that for that 8 weeks and then they'll be qualified once they pass that to graduate.
If you recall, there were several of the complaints that had to do with progression and the way that happened. So that's how it's ended up. So if part of the report was Donnelly's response to the resolution, and just as an additional, I've gotten a couple of calls, more questions, not complaints. So I have not received any new complaints from Donnelly students, just so you hear that some of those resolutions, there wasn't anything to do but go forward. You can't change what was already done, and the students are having to kind of deal with it from that perspective, but that a progression policy was very important. There was a progression policy, but I think with all the changes that had happened, there wasn't enough knowledge in those outside of the program because of all the changes internally. Those things didn't happen and they were allowed to go ahead. So that is an important thing. They did send me the policy. It is much more clarified. And as long as it stays in there and it gets followed, and hopefully that extends to your registrar's office and.
It already has, and they've already implemented,
and your dean.
Jennifer put locks on it now in our system, so they can't progress. So if it comes up that you're trying to admit someone to it, it will put a stop. You have not completed that. So we've worked with her, every week we have a meeting, and so we're putting those blocks so that there's a computer helping us along with the human eye to catch all those so that our students are making sure that they are progressing correctly.
So Gina, all 36 of these students will graduate this summer?
All of them will, only 2 of the, out of the 36, 2 of them have to take maternal child. The rest of them will be ready for graduation in May. And they're aware, we're gonna allow them to walk as long as they are progressing, but they do know that they have to take those classes. So we've already set up, and we've talked to those 2 students separately to explain to them what needs to be done to make sure they understand, and that we still will allow them to walk, but they need to finish maternal child.
Their degree won't be conferred until they finish their
Yes,
real
ma'am.
child, but
Yes,
it's essentially they're part of that last cohort.
So 34 should be testing.
Yes.
Okay.
So, can I ask questions here?
Yes, yes.
Tell me about how your faculty is responding to all of this.
Our faculty has been very positive. The feedback we've gotten is they needed structure. And, you have to have structure. That's all of us. And we're all following the same rule. So as we went through an orientation with faculty, we went over everything, no changes. Although we do have policies that will change in there, but they're part of that because they're on the subcommittee. Then we take it to the faculty, we explain it, we brainstorm. Okay, what do we need to do? So they're part of every process because they are the program. So they've been really positive. It's really, like I said, I've been here since January, but it's refreshing. And just having them understand our internal and external community and dominantly is very important. So they're very uplifted and very empowered.
The fact that you still have the same faculty in the spring that you had in the fall is, for you guys, it's right now, it's pretty exciting. Tell me how the students responding. I don't know if you've heard, but in general, what kind of response you get from the students?
The students are, honestly, a couple of students said, well, you said we're gonna be structured, but we didn't realize that you were serious about it. Like, yes, we're serious about it. I said, you have to be safe, you have to be comfortable, you might take care of me at the bedside. So they come and they're like, okay, thank you. And when we went to the classroom not long ago and we went to each, the day and the evening, it was just like, we're just here to make sure that you know that we're serious. We want you to be professional. We want you to know we're here. Even when I went to the clinical site, they're like, I said, no, I'm here to make sure, not only am I checking on, seeing what's going on, talking to the nurses, seeing how you're doing, your faculty. I'm interested in what's going on with you. And I started getting feedback. So that was really good. And they stop by or they email, they have no problem communicating.
Quick question, Laura, back to there were issues with making sure that the IV therapy was being followed, that there was a live stick. So can you remind, is the IV therapy part of their med surg course?
Yes.
And this is part of the stick is part of their determination if they pass the IV therapy, which determines if
Right.
they pass the course.
Right, so it is part of the Care of Adults 1.
Okay.
So in that course, we do teach IV therapy. However, a lot of them haven't done the live stick portion of that. And we did do in our boot camp in January, a repeat of just the instruction and, practicing on the mannequins. And then the clinical instructors were instructed to, they have the checklist for a live stick. And so again, some of them have been able to do that in the clinical site, but we're finding that the opportunity isn't necessarily there in the clinical site. So we did get the okay to be able to do them in the lab live sticks.
Just to make sure that even if they've done the live sticks, Miss Laura's our new coordinator of IV therapy, and she wants to watch them herself. Just a final check off for even those who have done it in the clinical site, just to ensure that we're following all KSBN's checkout.
And I think with this cohort, in particular, so I don't know if you recall, but we lost the evening, Med-Surg 1 instructor. So about 6 weeks into the semester, I took that over. My problem was that I didn't personally do the IV therapy with them. And so I wasn't comfortable doing a check off with them without actually knowing that they were properly taught. And so with this cohort, it's kind of been dragged out longer than it should be. Just because I want to make sure, I'm the one signing my name to this, so I want to make sure that they're safe and competent to do IV therapy before I sign off. Which is the reason why we did the training in January and then getting the live sticks done. We worked really hard to get where we are able to officially do live sticks in the lab. So that's helpful, but going forward, we plan to have IV therapy complete during their Care of Adults 1 course. So therefore, they'll have it all complete and they'll be able to utilize it more in the clinical arena going forward.
I think that's part of, yeah, so we want to make sure it's part of that course, part of that. When they complete that, because then when you're turning in that they've completed IV therapy, that it follows all the regs and that includes the light stick. And that they've passed all of the clinical portion as well. So sounds like we're kind of cleaning up from that last cohort, but they will get it. It may not be as conventional, but they're all gonna get it so that when they have that, any of them have that IV therapy added, they will have met the regulatory requirements. Right, that's what we're, making sure of now.
I have a copy of the requirements right here in my binder. I know them.
So all of the policy changes that is influenced what your syllabi look like, and the faculty are aware that they have limited power in changing those in the middle of the semester.
Now, currently, we're not changing any of the policies. So any policy that's been approved for change will start when we have a new cohort. They will not start currently, so that way there's no changes to the students. These are moving forward, so these are future. So they are getting approved and we know we're gonna initiate it, but it will not be with the current students in the program.
I mean, that was really one of the concerns with our students was that every new director, there were new policies, new things added to the handbook, and so we're just not doing that to this.
We're just following the current policies that are in, like I said, we went over them with the faculty and the students, and then a lot of faculty came back for the student orientation. So they heard it because, like I told the students, we have to role model. If we're not following the policies, we can't have you follow the policies. So they're pretty consistent with that. And I said, just go to the rule book. And so we haven't had as many concerns about that. And if they do, we can take them to the page and show them.
Sounds like you're working really hard.
Yes.
Congratulations, that's a lot.
One question I had about the ATI nurse educator. Because we have encouraged you guys getting a consultant, and I love that you're using mentors with the faculty. But is the ATI nurse educator a Kansas person who's aware of Kansas regulations to be a true consultant for meeting Kansas?
Yes, I asked her that and
Okay.
she looked up the regulations. It's a team of them that are coming to us and they looked up to make sure that they're following our Kansas Practice Act, Nurse Practice Act.
So they may or may not be from Kansas.
I'm not sure if they're from Kansas,
Okay.
honestly, but I know that I told them that we have to follow our regs and our things in Kansas Nurse Practice Act, and they were aware of that.
Okay. Wow, you guys have been very, very busy, and Gina, you hit the ground running, coming into this position, so.
I'm very thankful for Gina.
Yes.
It's been a very healthy, me and Miss Laura, like we walk in, we're a team. So we're working really hard to bring it up because we know we have a lot of students that want to move on, that want to come. And like I told them, you're part of our process of getting our things together. And that's what one of our strengths is, this communication, solidifying, making sure that we're restructuring properly and according to the regs. And we would ask if we could have, if you guys would allow us to have a site visit before the June meeting, so we might have a possibility to be able to admit if we pass that site visit in the fall.
Looking at our site visits coming up.
Yeah, April is out. I can't do anymore. And I've already utilized my committee members too. When is your graduation?
May 9th.
I mean, that's up to you guys.
To do, mid or late May, site visit.
Need one students there, right?
Yeah, that would be the problem.
That.
Pretty much all of them are graduating. in
Yes, we
May.
would just have the two taking maternal child on Tuesday and Thursday in the summer. But we graduate May 9th, but because of the extension, we had 15 weeks, so the students will still be on campus the week after graduation for finals.
Oh.
So they will be a week after for finals.
will any students be there during the summer doing virtual ATI? Did you guys impose that policy that they had to stay on campus to do virtual ATI?
No, we do.
They won't be in clinical.
Well, also two that are in maternal child.
There will be a
Yeah.
clinical.
There will be a clinical at University Health for maternal child.
Will they be in May? In clinical?
The week after graduation, they'll be doing finals. So they won't be in clinical. They won't be in clinical until June for maternal
Right.
child. Yes, ma'am.
So.
That would be our other question.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have a self-study ready for us by, if we tried to squeeze this in at the end of April?
Yes, ma'am, we will.
Because we would need it, if we even looked at April 27th, we'd need it 2 weeks before that.
Next week, as soon as they're possible.
I mean, a lot of the materials presented here, but,
And yeah, and that's always contingent on, finding. Yeah, and I mean, last time, because of the complexity and because of the two programs, the last couple of times we have taken 3 people. I just, that's been a. Because of all the things going on, we want to make sure there's a good representation and. Because it's 2 programs, it's a lot of curriculum to cover and just a lot of other things, so. It would be, I think. Debbie and Karen went the last time. Karen did the visit with me prior to that, but it was a lot. So it's up to you all, but, I guess my point of view.
Do we have the pass rates to date so far for this semi-first quarter?
I did, we're close to being up to the end of the quarter. And we're still in the 60% for both programs. From the December cohort, I don't know how many graduated.
We had, there was a total of 24, 27 LPNs and 13 RNs.
Okay, well, 10 of the
In
13,
December.
yeah, 10 of the 13 have taken their test. And 6 passed, so at 60% rate for the ADNs. And 18 of your, what did you say,
27.
18 of your 27 PNs have taken it and 11 have passed, so that's at 61%. So you still have a few more there, you know. Yeah, the policies that the 2 big ones that they did send in terms of admission and progression, I have looked at, and in terms of all that we asked, those are in alignment with what we would have asked for. Admission, obviously, they're not doing right now, so it's a matter of having it in place and clarified. The teach test was the one added. That was actually a couple of inquiries have been, if they're not admitting, should I take the test? So they are having some questions about taking the exam and not knowing, but I just told them, gave them that it's up to them. It's part of the admission process, but they can't do anything with the admission right now, so it would be up to the student if they would do that or not, but something's the testing policy was a big thing. You're addressing that. I don't.
And we
Send
do
me the
have a
testing.
draft testing policy, just talked to Dr. Megan, so by the time you come on a site visit, we'd have that there, because it's actually went out to the faculty to start looking at it before our meeting at the end of the week.
And your advisory committee meeting was when?
This 27th February.
And you have all the minutes from that?
Yes, ma'am.
Recommendations from that. There are a couple of options, I mean, just in terms of what we've done in the past, to have students on site. It would require a big push to do that. If we did we could also ask students to attend a student meeting. Even though they're not currently in. It would mean speaking with clinical sites kind of after the fact, the students wouldn't be on site, but we could still do a clinical visit. to follow up with how the clinical sites went for the students without having them there. And then just talking to the students separately. So that's another option. If, because I'm talking to you all in terms of you all are the pool of people, and not to have to commit to it now, but that is an option. To have students there, we'd have to push and probably try to do the end of April, that last week of April. Well, 27th is a Monday. We wouldn't necessarily have, I don't know if clinicals are, would they be in clinical that week? Or
Yeah, Tuesdays and the weekends, so Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday are our clinical
so a
days.
Tuesday, Wednesday visit would still be a possibility. It's, yeah.
Would be looking at the 27th and or the 28th and 29th.
Is it possible to do the 27th and 28th, knowing that that first day is just looking at everything else and
Oh, well, yeah, that would be possible too.
Is there?
It's really more, it's really
available?
more, it's really more.
instead of 28th?
I'm gonna sign for it. Debbie, I know you're already committed to another.
You've already got us.
Yeah.
We just have to look and change some things. I'm just really concerned about the time frame and having everything
Yes.
ready. I know it's very difficult not to be able to admit to a program. But I also know the difficulties that were there when we were there before, and you know, it's like I said at the last meeting, I think it's pretty easy to say we've got everything in place, but to actually have it come to fruition at some point, I mean, you know, you can assign all those things, and I can sign that I looked at Nurse Tim and that I logged in and was on there that time, but how's that, am I implementing that? How are you knowing that what they're doing is being implemented in the classroom? You haven't had time to look at that. Because I know we assign things out to Nurse Tim, and some people look at them, some people don't, but everybody signs in that they did it. And
We actually get a notice if they do not complete the webinar, for example.
well, you can complete the webinar, but that doesn't mean I apply
You
any
apply
of
it,
it into
right.
what I'm doing. And
There's no faculty already stating that they're taking what they're learning and putting it in the classroom, strategies, teaching strategies.
but until you actually see results
Yeah,
from
you
that,
can't evaluate the outcome.
you can't evaluate what's going on.
So Gina, you're gonna graduate before finals? When is finals week?
It's the following week.
Is-
Yes,
So how do you graduate without taking your final?
a lot of schools will let you walk, and they already understand, because the reason was, remember, we had went from a 15-week, Donnelly did, and they went back to the 16-week, so it's just a one-time thing. And the students have been, they know that they have to do finals afterwards, but they'll still be allowed to graduate, because we only graduate as a big college once a year.
That's the ceremony
So
itself.
Just the ceremony, not to defer the degree or anything. The degree doesn't get conferred until they finish the finals.
I'm wondering if there's any other outcome measure besides NCLEX, you know?
Say that again.
I'm wondering if there's any other kind of an outcome measure besides NCLEX that would indicate, like with faculty education and the integrity of curriculum delivery, because I think that's really what we're talking about. We've looked at the curriculum, it's the integrity of the delivery based on the qualifications and the knowledge and expertise of the faculty. You know, we always say NCLEX is a really good outcome for all of that, to show that that's at the level it needs to be. Is there another outcome indicator? I mean, I don't know that student surveys,
Well, you could look at their ExamSoft analytics,
and they.
depending on if the ExamSoft is actually being written by people who know how to write items.
Right.
But you still, but you still, if they're putting them in from a book, you're still not getting.
Yeah, but you're looking at
An
the
educator.
reliability, who's high, who's low.
Yeah.
If there's enough of a pattern where you can see, are the high scores staying high or the low? I think if you look at that analysis, that actually might be somewhat.
Except the
of a-
students were passing their courses before. They got through school, they passed their courses, they didn't pass anybody.
Right, but that's
So-
apparently been corrected, right? Wasn't that part of the correction was looking at?
Can
that?
we use the ATI predictor,
Yeah.
Ms. Ruth?
Yeah. we're
Because we do
talking
have
about
the
some
ATI
other-
predictor
other
for the current
indicators.
students.
I don't know, I'm just throwing it out, some other outcome indicators that might be there.
Having been to Donley, what, 2 times already, your students are not afraid to tell me that things are going well
They're not.
in the classroom. They're very happy to share that information.
But do they know enough to know what quality education is?
They know when they did get it.
Okay,
Absolutely. knew
okay.
when they did not get it.
Okay.
So we can't.
We need
But I think it's gonna be difficult to get comparisons because to know if it's an average. And they're not using it because of the cohort situation.
I know it would be after they're done with clinical, but the other option, the students would be on site on May 11th and 12th. If we go any further out, we're gonna have very limited students on campus, and many of the things that they're adopting without students in classes, we're not gonna be able to evaluate.
So as a student mama bear, you're gonna interrupt their finals by having an audit?
Well, we wouldn't interrupt the student, we would visit with the students around their schedule. Yes.
Definitely people touch my students during finals. Can't even look
And,
at 'em.
and that would be, I mean, if you feel that would not be a good time to come, like on the 11th and 12th.
We would give you the exam schedules, and
Well,
that way
yes,
we can
yes.
work around that
Yeah,
when we're
we
doing
would
the
not
agenda.
expect students to meet with us during exam
Right.
time,
Oh, no.
right before exam times.
Right.
Even if we have to do late afternoon, we would
Yes, ma'am.
accommodate their schedule, or I just worry for your sake even.
Right.
And then whoever the site visitors are to have time to thoroughly review everything before April 27th. That is putting-
Because I've got people working on
Yes.
3 site visits just prior to that every week. It's just a lot.
Yes.
Is that time enough to turn it around for Jamie?
Well, even if we do May, it would become an on-site packet.
It could be, yeah, as long as it would probably be that week when we'd be putting the packet together, so it might have to be an on-site. I don't like to do that with something that critical, but May 11th may be the last, if we can get it. Jill, you know, having ended ahead of time for our June meeting. For our. Yeah. As to when the packet would be, is it? Almost 3 weeks. Let me just look real quick, because I'm thinking if we can, any way we can get it in the regular packet. It might mean a rush on our part to make sure that the report is done and that you've seen it, but. Let's see,
Our meeting is June 9.
2, 3, so we would probably use that week of the 11th is probably when the agendas be approved.
We can put it on the agenda knowing that there will be a site visit.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a real crunch. And you have to know that too, that we won't have a lot of time to turn around. You'll have to look at it. We'll have to get it done pretty quickly. And then at the latest, probably Wednesday of the next week, I could probably, and with Jill's help always.
Yes.
Um,
Sometimes there's some give room, if there's anything at the site visit that we don't find that you have time to get back to Janelle, we will not have that time, so.
We'll be looking
Anything,
at only what we have.
yes, so anything that is not there when we're on visit is all that will go into the June report.
So they're gonna be, students will be doing finals the week of the 11th. What day, I'm just trying to think what days would have best. Is it 11, 12?
And I'm not sure the exam schedule, I can get it for you.
Well, it's more for you, okay.
I mean, that's for the end of the semester for us, and
It's not an idle week for.
we've already put it on Sunday and then turn right around and do this on Monday and Tuesday. We're trying to close out everything is a challenge. A very big challenge.
So Karen's a for sure, I mean, my calendar would allow it, if I'm pending what happens with legislation, if I'm still a board member.
So a suggestion, let's look at that. And we'll come back around. We're trying to get a site visit done before the June meeting. That's the intent. And we will be in touch with you in terms of how that may or may not be able to be accomplished in which date. Like, is that all right?
Yes.
I think that just, I may not be able to resolve it right now, just depending on issues.
It
Yeah,
looks like
I've got
exams,
just,
like final exams. For our day cohort. For Care of Adults 2, it would be on a Monday.
okay,
For our evening cohort, it would be on a Tuesday evening.
okay.
And the other ones would be on Thursday and Wednesday. So there would be one on Thursday morning, Thursday evening. And then our farm final would probably be on a Wednesday afternoon.
I'm still thinking,
So,
yeah, just trying to think for that particular week, as early as possible, week is probably best.
so it looks like most of them are gonna be on a Thursday,
Okay,
the majority.
So that way, if it is on a Tuesday, we would be open and we would, ask the students to come.
Yeah, Tuesday would definitely be the more open day as far as students go.
okay, but we can look at
Without
Monday,
finals.
Tuesday, because Monday could be more our day
Yeah.
reviews and all of that. Might be more new that day, but, okay. All right, well, we'll make a final decision on that and I'll be in touch with you.
Thanks, we appreciate it, thank you.
We'll for sure have Karen and Janelle, possibly Amy or Ruth. And we'll proceed.
We appreciate it, thank you so much for your time, and thank you, Ms. Chanel.
And thank you for all the work you're doing, because there's a significant amount on that report.
Yeah.
So we will be excited to see it. With that being said, when would their self-study need to be interviewed?
Well, if it's, normally we would say 4 weeks. This is, a follow-up. Yeah, I would say 3 weeks prior to the visit is really the latest we should go. And then having all the resources ready, as many of those ahead of time, at least 2 weeks ahead is always really good for us to be able to put some time in ahead. Obviously, we'll have some time there, but there's a lot, so we want to make sure we do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay in touch with Janelle and
We will, thank you so much.
all work together. Okay, thank you. Okay, next up is the LMHT task force update. Ruth?
Yes. We had, one meeting on January 27th. Planned to have another one, but things did not go as expected. Between that point and, recently. And just to remind you, to catch you up to date, as well, this was about looking at the curriculum and the excessive numbers of hours didactic and clinical, and looking at revisions and what would really need to be included in that. And then also the exam, and it was decided that it was the curriculum we needed to tackle first, except there was one pending cohort to test, and that was with WSU at that time. At the end of January, no one had tested for the LMHT.
Right.
Yeah.
I just hadn't heard anything yet.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
Well, the student that's can take the exam was accepted into the nursing program in January. And is, struggles with a new nursing program and has indicated that she wouldn't take the exam until summer at
Okay,
least, so.
well, the reason that's a salient point is because that exam had a lot of pharmacology in there, and the curriculum did not contain that much. And I will tell you and so that is like now we're gonna move that ahead further because it's not an eminent concern at all. But the curriculum is a really big concern, and we spent almost our entire meeting looking at that and what needed to be included. We had K-Dance there. The LMHT for the state position description is on page 196. And you can see passing meds, administering meds if it's in a mental health facility. So that was a large part of our discussion. How can we do that? Looking at WSU text program and different things. We were looking at what needs to be strengthened in terms of pharmacology. Scott Bruner with KDADS talked about stacking credentials and doing a CMA. So where we're at with all of this is that all the task force members are getting into our Teams site and reviewing and making recommendations. But clearly, we all decided pharmacology needs to stay in there because of the state position description. And there's a lot of you in particular is counting on them being able to do that. It's in their position description as well. And then also we have to reduce the number of hours. I believe it's 900, which is just really huge. So we've all agreed on that. Now it's how we're going to do that. And within our minutes, we have some suggestions and we'll just carry forward.
Right.
Whoever leads the task force or whoever is on it remains seen. But I think we've done some really good work. And I think we're ready now to really carve out that curriculum. And then after we do that, then revise the exam and be sure that pharmacology is in there.
The one other additional, so, and then the exam too, one of the things that throughout there is, and I don't even know if I told Ruth this, but after that meeting, with some, the other things going on with the two schools that have it, I've gotten some input that there are people who are willing to be exam reviewers that are not part of the programs. That was one of the things we were kind of struggling
The
with.
SMEs, right?
Yeah, we need those subject matter experts to really help us. So I think we have some opportunity to move that forward as well. Sooner maybe rather than later.
It
So
was a privilege to serve on this. Thank you for your work with me. Okay.
Do we need to add that to the June agenda for any updates or?
yeah,
I think it would be a good idea because we really have, I think we've gone this
Ready to
far
go.
at this point. I think we're ready to move ahead and carve out that curriculum. That's really where it's at.
It's
Excellent.
pretty critical for us because I now have 7 people
Yes.
in the program pathway taking classes. And so if we're changing curriculum on them, that's gonna be.
Well, we're just reducing, remember our group was,
I know,
and
to
was to
reduce,
just reduce the 900.
But, yeah,
I know what
right,
you're
but if
saying.
I have them pay for all these credit hours that they're no longer going to have, that's always not as satisfying.
yeah. And they're unfortunately starting when we did and now looking at that. We knew that the curriculum had some potential to be problematic. The way that you were able to make that work. And you know, WSU Tech's kind of in the same boat. I don't know if they'll do a lot of changes, but they kind of have a 2-level pathway going anyway. So I think for the long run for LMHT, the getting it off the ground for that curriculum reduction, and it may be that there are parts of it still there. I don't know that it will go away. There may be some reduction of that for anyone starting the program after. So that's why we're trying to get it done sooner rather than later.
But no one yet is in the clinical pieces, so working on the clinical side might be a priority.
Yeah, 450 practical.
Before they
Yeah,
get
that's
in
a
there.
lot.
And I will have to say, we were all really impressed with the curriculum of the LMHT and it's just set out so nicely. So looking at, it's really a reg issue, I think, because this program, of course, has to meet the requirements to get that degree and get that certificate from them, wherever it is. But then also to meet the regs and it's matching that up. That's really where we're at. And that is not a simply done, I'm gonna sit and look at this for 4 hours. We've been talking about this and looking at this for quite some time.
And when that first curriculum first started, that was primarily the state hospitals and they were doing them internally. They weren't looking at college credit.
Correct.
There were a lot of things that weren't factored in and that how it got raised to 900 and they were still able to incorporate it. But obviously, at some point, that must have become an issue too, because then it started.
No. And then when you think about how you were counting credits, because I've set up those kinds of, the facility programs.
Yeah.
And it's how you count them as compared to, we're looking at university curriculum or a technical college curriculum and saying, how do we match that? I'm just saying that we were really impressed with the curriculum as it is set out.
But just haven't put it into a reasonable number of
Hours,
the
so we can
level
get
that
those
is-
900 hours out of the regs, and I think the 450 is a lot. But it depends a bit on how it was originally being counted for clinical hours, how that was being.
Right, because it's,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Incredible.
Right.
Yes, there's a lot of in our BSN.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for the continued effort with this, Ruth. Okay, moving on to our legislative review.
So may I give just a little
Yes, please
help
do.
here? So as you recall, part of our legislative, we've always done review of our statutes and regs every 5 years. And then if you remember that a year or so ago, we got the edict that we had to do this, not only review, but we have to review it for whether it's a necessary regulation. So there's a process that has been worked on. We did get through all of our regs. We don't have to do it for statutes, do we need this or not, because we don't make the statutes, but for every regulation. So as part of our process moving forward, we will be looking at a 5-year cycle on all of these. And not only doing okay, is this something we still need? But then once we do, are there any changes that are required? So I put in here, so we just have a list that we need to do for this year. We got all the regs done last year, so now we're in the process of the cycle. And so there were, I think, maybe 13, I can't remember if it's the whole schedule there. Those are all of them. So what we have on here right now are the first four. Well, they're not necessarily the first four, but they're 4 of the ones from that list. And that was a little bit strategic because a couple of them on the list are ones that we know we're looking at changing. So we're waiting kind of for there are going to be some other changes that are going to have to happen based on what's going on right now with legislature. So I chose not to put those regs first because we are going to have to review them. We know that, and there will have to be some changes. So the ones that are put out here now were ones that I think are, that I just felt were more stable. So we're starting with those. And I will say the refresher course is one of them that I did because we just actually did do that and did that update. So felt these were maybe the safest to bring this time in terms of the process. And so right now, the motion is written to review all of them that are here. If we don't have time to, we'll just take them out of the list. But if we have time and want to do all 4, to do those reviews, answer the questions that we need to. And then either, well, the motion will depend on whether you decide if anybody has any viewpoint about whether they think there are changes that need to be looked at for any of these regs. Or the statute, obviously, it would be put forward whether we think that there's any point there, but. So that's the process in terms of it's a 2-part. Yes, do we still need this? We think this is a regulation that needs to be there, and then. Are we good with it as it is now? Or do we think there need to be changes, and then that work can be done in follow-up?
I think it's the only problem with it all. Yes, and thank you for, yes, we have got that already written in there, yes, no, and we.
Those were kind of the predecessors to that, so as long as those are still good and accurate.
All 4 of these are in active use. And based on our agenda, there is one typo. It's KAR 60, not go.
Not go.
On.
Don't know how I did that.
Yeah, and I read it too and approved it, and, so yeah, so small little change there. So, any discussion about these four?
Just a reminder that 160-1-104 is our definitions. We did do some fairly extensive revision of that maybe 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, but maybe it's been longer. Time is flying, but I haven't heard of any new things that have been problematic in terms of what I'm hearing from any of our schools that use the regulations and the definitions regularly. Sometimes I'll hear things and it's like, oh gosh, we really don't have that well defined, but I think we've been able to effectively use that one. Here, for the second one is, just initial approval. I haven't heard anything in terms of, we've had several new programs in the last 3 years, so we've used that a lot. And then, like I said, the refresher was the one that just got changed not that long ago.
Are there any we need to discuss?
Absolutely.
Any that we feel need a change? Okay.
This committee of the KSBN has completed an environmental assessment of the necessity and potential revision or revocation of KSA 65-1119, Schools of Nursing, KAR 60-1-104 definitions, KAR 60-2-101 requirements for initial approval, and KAR 60-3-114 satisfactory completion of a refresher course. I move and make a recommendation to the board that there is no need for legislative changes to these statutes and regulations at this time. I propose review of these statutes and regulations again in 5 years, unless there's a change in the healthcare regulation environment justifying an earlier review.
Also, thank you. Okay, so Patty and Debbie, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Abstentions, motion carries. Thank you. Okay. And we have, the remaining, I can't remember if I counted 12 or 13 of them, but again, we can bring other ones to the
Right.
June meeting.
I will just bring the next 4.
Okay.
We're gonna try to bring 4 each time. It's gonna get a little harder, but like, we'll try to bring the ones that are a little less influx. We will have a couple of them that definitely LMHT are one of those, or 2 of those.
Okay, next is, any items that we need to move to the June agenda. Obviously, we'll have more of these to review. One thing that I talked to Janelle about, and we didn't put it on the agenda for today, is we are aware ACEN, is sometimes I get confused with AACN. ACEN and CCNE have slight changes in what the requirements are for pass rates. They are all in agreement with the 80% for NCLEX, but they now have different criteria that schools can choose to meet to remain accredited. And it's different between the two, but there are some similarities. We just go on first-time pass rates. We also look at all-time pass rates, but there's now some criteria of first-time test takers and repeaters at or above the national mean. With CCNE, there's several different changes. You can again do your first time for the last year. You can do a longitudinal. You can also exclude students who have been out of your program for more than 2 years. So I think it might be good at the June meeting to have pass rate discussion. If we want to consider options instead of just the 80%, at least looking at them, knowing that not all schools in Kansas are accredited, but that we do have some variation in accreditation standards. Do we want to consider other options? And I have the email with the breakdown between the ACEN and CCNE. But between now and then, we can all have that and put it on the agenda to compare it. And we may not want to change anything, but at least knowing that there are some options out there, we might want to change for KSBN.
And just a reminder that the last 2 years for sure, maybe 3, I have been adding the 3-year averages, as well as the all-time pass rate, which is that combination of first time and repeat folks, which can be a tough one. Some people do really well with that, but others really struggle with those repeaters, and it can really bring their rates down. So I think that's one of the reasons they use the option is some are just really good on that, it depends on how many students.
I was gonna say low numbers.
Low numbers can
Three or
really.
4 people tested, one missed it, you're already a
Yeah,
second.
and it's like one of we looked at this morning where you have a one-time. It maybe goes slightly below, but when you look at a 3-year average, it's above 90%, so is it a concern? And I think that's why ASIN and CCNE made those changes. I think, when we look at is a pass rate of 80%, the only way to look at a program, and because we know it's a late indicator anyway, that's why the approval guidelines have been important, pulling in some other things. But other ways to look at the pass rate too, I think are important as we're looking at, we want to maintain the quality, but we don't necessarily want a program to. We started making advances earlier because we started realizing we were maybe waiting too long. Now that we have other indicators, if we have other ways of looking at it, we're not looking at it just one way and saying, okay, that's bad. I'll have more than one way we can look at it and make decisions based on something other than that.
Well,
That's just the.
But the border states, we have 2 border states who have no expiration on how many times you can take a test.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that will come back.
On the repeat rates.
Yes, on the repeat rates and on the expiration. I mean, I've had one before that waited 7 years to take it on New Year's Eve.
And I.
For the first time.
And
For the
where
first
I
time.
was before, that's exactly another state thing.
Yeah.
You get the people that have not taken it, and now they suddenly take it, and now you have a low cohort size, but didn't have. And wow, you really get affected by that 1 or 2 people that are testing late and are now with your new cohort, for sure.
Well, just like we were talking about earlier with, a program who has consistently their students are not testing early, and that could be an issue. But if you're that poor cohort that, if it's that one person that drops you below and they're the ones that decided to wait 1.5 years after their, or 2 or 3. I was gonna, again, part of the look back, I've been trying to look at petitioners again because in the last, probably 9 months, I have had at least 5 students who wanted to petition, but they were already at their limit. So you can't petition after 5 years, they have to go back and retake the nursing courses, and it's like, well, I took it once, but now I'm ready to take it again. Okay.
I do have a question. Yes. At the National Council, board meeting, with anything in the meeting, the series of meetings, was anything said about looking at a second time influx? Because that's been discussed for years. Should we look at both as indicators of meeting that 80% and not counting them with their cohort going forward, but staying with their cohort, their initial one?
Nothing was at this meeting, this has been your meeting, and I can certainly take the question back to education, because we have monthly calls and we talk about different things, and I don't know if that's about. Right now, the big question out there is online influx, and so that's a whole nother.
Oh, I know.
Another thing, but, and just in case anybody's heard rumors, they're not true. I had a person calling yesterday, wanted to make sure she could take her test before April 1, because they were changing it. Like, who are you talking to? But, reassurances and assurances that, like they did with the next gen, we're not just gonna all of a sudden hear of them starting it. We will know well in advance if and when that becomes a true thing, so.
Yeah, thank you for taking.
You're right, but in terms of there may be other states and schools can look at things for themselves too. It's something I did look at, it's probably been. I did kind of a longitudinal look at folks as I was doing quarterly reports to look at as they went along. Because I think it was one of the schools we had on conditional, because what we were seeing is a large cohort that, well, this is just an example, 9 students took the exam and 8 failed. But they all 8 retook it, and they all passed the second time.
Yeah, and
If you look at the cohorts, there are a lot of,
were they ELLs?
a lot of, yeah, there's a high percentage. And so when you're looking at those things, it's like, what can we do to prepare them better the first time? I mean, what's different between the first time and the second time? What was it? This did come up in one of the meetings, you were talking about. Oh. Maybe it was there has. I don't know if this is something that anybody cares about, but this is one thing's talked about. So the NCLEX exam fee has been the same for, Adrian, help me, how many years?
Since 2001.
So 25 years, they have not increased the exam fee for nursing students. And if you look at similar, so they showed this whole trajectory of other occupations, I mean, in physical therapy, occupational therapy, a lot of health, dentists, physicians, and what it costs for them to take their exam. This is a licensing exam, so it's a one-time, if you're serious about it, and you hope. But our exam fee of $200 is almost at the bottom of the list. I mean, some of them the others range anywhere from $400 to up to $2,000. Now, if you look at, I'm kind of looking at, because NCLEX is both PN and RN, but they still have to administer the test, you still have to do all of the work, so it costs the same. But I'm also looking at, okay, what do I earn as a person going out and being an occupational therapist or a speech therapist or
How
a
much do you
physician?
have when you graduate?
Right.
It's a hardship.
So some of that is a balance of we are doing better with salaries, but we still know there's a differential there too. So we still give a lot more RN exams than PN, but the other exam, so that was an example of a value of the profession too. What we're saying is that, yeah, they'll come up with a one-time fee. But if we look, and again, Adrian, help me because my brain. I think if you look at, if they had been making changes all along,
Right.
it would be more toward the $400 range at this point.
Correct, yeah.
If we made the changes along that we're seeing in other, just with other fields and the increased value of the exam in terms of. It did change with the computer adapted, but it just hasn't kept pace. So what's happening is you have a lot of students taking it, but it's not meeting the operational margins for the exam anymore. So they're basically having to use other reserve funds to pay for operations. So that was one place. So the exam fee and what the interesting conversation that came out of that, the reason I bring it up is the fact that there were some states that said, yes, it may be that whole attitude of, oh, let me just take it one time just so I feel better about it. And I know it's, I know what it feels like. So the $200 fee just kind of becomes negligible. So if it costs them a little bit more to take the exam, maybe there's a thought that it would. But I don't know. I don't know what the other factors are in that. So that was just one thing though. But there were more than one state educator person that said, yeah, we kind of have that problem too. So we were kind of talking about students anyway, at the end of their paying all their paying for student loans and other things, is the exam fee gonna be, they don't wanna, make it
Was anything addressed at the meetings as well about the mental state? Or even the COVID education and the impact, because I've read some things on that. These are people that were in high school or doing their prereqs affected by COVID. I mean, it just seems, or even in their own program, affected by some of that. And it just seems like in the literature, I'm seeing that more and more of the mental health of nursing graduates has been addressed, and I'm wondering if anyone's done a study on taking that into how that's affected test anxiety and NCLEX pass rates.
Well, we do know there, and other states have said this too, the increase in accommodations for testing
Yes.
have increased. And a lot of that is based on, I think, anxiety and test taking and all of that. But I don't know, I can't, and again, I can ask about that. Anytime there are things like that that are evident, they did do a lot of work in looking at what happened during COVID and what kind of the follow-up response have been. And a lot of schools are seeing, we're starting to see recovery of the NCLEX, obviously, and becoming a little bit more smoothing out a little bit in terms of, and they're looking at it just like we did before. Every 3 years, they'll be looking at it to see if that pass rate standard, you know, where it is and all the analytics that go into it. I can't explain that because they're PhD levels up in analytics, but how the logic system works and how they get to that pass rate average. So they are continually watching that. I don't know if they're looking at other factors that might affect that. They're mostly concerned about how the information there, are we hitting clinical judgment? Are we, you know, is everything we're doing?
Yeah, it's the
Really
clinical
hitting that
judgment,
middle.
I think, is a true key piece of preparation.
And the response we're getting from the hospitals in terms of how they feel the students are. I mean, because the pass rates have increased significantly. That hasn't made a difference in how the students are.
That's right,
behaving.
within that 90, or even within that 90-day probationary period for a new position, if it's at a complex level of care, a hospital position, that is so key. And they put it all together and they manage themselves under stress, because what I'm reading is it's a mental health issue among nursing students. And I think COVID was a lot of it, but some of it has referenced just the general anxiety of the population in the world and all that's going on, and looking at within nursing, how can we stabilize that within a nursing education program? Because we're preparing these people to take people's lives in their hands, and that's a real worry. You've got the head knowledge, but when you get out there and practice, if you can't apply it because you've got barriers to being able to think and reason and use good judgment in the moment of that time. That is very, very something.
Yes, and I don't know in terms of that, what their research and what they're doing to show that.
The DNP project.
Yeah, there you
Yes,
go.
several DNP.
There, shoot, something else. You said something that made me think of something else that was being discussed. I think it had to do with preparedness. I'll go back and look because I know. I'll try to maybe even be more specific with I do put in my education report, some of the education calls are very pertinent to what we're talking about. And I think sometimes hearing from all the different states about, and I have something from the last call I may ask you about for the agenda, because I think a couple of the things that they were talking about in terms of, one was, the first time pass rate, we did have that discussion about what are the factors that go into thinking about taking an exam and how can we get them to take it more seriously. Maybe looking at the states that have 98% pass rates consistently. I don't know what they're doing. And they're not small numbers either. It's interesting. I can't remember.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Like I'm monopolizing. I think this is good for all of us to discuss. The new apprenticeship model is one response to, I think, the concern that is having, people have had regarding the gap between knowledge and practice. So do we know, or, I mean, I know it's active in this state. Do we know if anyone has gone through a program on that apprenticeship model and had their clinicals under that whole 40-hour work week with the hospital paying for the clinicals because they're their employee? I know I spoke with the apprenticeship director last fall for the state of Kansas. I was at that healthcare innovation workforce on March 10th here in Topeka. And, you know, looking at how the expectation is that that's gonna solve a lot of problems. And I'm looking deeper at it more than just adding people that know the hospital before they leave and that's gonna strengthen the practice. I'm still looking at this whole issue of how can we assure that they're capable by the time they graduate of getting out into practice and applying what they learn, not just, you know, because the new CCNA thing is show me what you know by what you do. I want to know that you know it because you won't be able to do it. But are you able to apply that high level of clinical decision making and reasoned analysis? That's what saves lives in tough situations. You've got to be able to hold yourself together and apply it. And I'm seeing some fragmentation just in the literature, not with our students, but you know, when just reading the literature is really concerning.
It reminded me what I was going to say. One of the things that came up was the concern for the number of graduates that are being hired in high risk, high stress jobs.
Yes.
Now, they say they want it and they think they want it,
Yes.
but in terms of creating a more stable workforce is in, you know, what happened to enforcing the 6 months to a year in a basic
Right.
med surg model rather than putting him in the ER, putting him in the IC where those decisions, it's like, are we really expecting them to be able to make those decisions that quickly? And I did talk to one who a facility who, because I heard from a couple students, yeah, I have a job in the ICU. And what I found out from the ICU director is, yes, we told them we'll hire them for the ICU, but they must work a minimum of 6 months on the med surg floor while they are also orienting the ICU.
Great idea.
But the idea that, you know, we don't have a lot of control over that once they're out of school. But just the idea, because I know facilities are so. That everybody needs nurses. But instead of trying to find their seasoned nurses and putting them in those jobs. And putting their graduates where they have a better chance of creating that base that they need. With some support and not the critical. So that was a lot of the discussion that was being had is how can we have more effect? Yeah, more effect on those decisions being made. It's kind of the same thing we also heard the graduate school side in terms of APRN programs that allow students to come in with only a BSN degree, the BSN to DNP, and I don't know, those of you that have them.
Yes, I've taught that.
How they end up. At the end of their DNP, there's a number of clinical hours, but we don't have any residency requirements in Kansas. And there's some concern from other states that do about, that's why the APRN compact too has some of the issues, and that's maybe not for here, but just in terms of education. Some programs require critical care before they get to the APRN, some require, you know, experience, but are seeing there are some programs that are not. We don't have control over those, but whether you start requiring some kind of entry to, when they come to your state, they're new grads and they've never worked a job outside of their clinical for school. And they have full practice authority.
That's right.
So anyway, that was another part of the discussion of education, but.
For sure that.
And there's also pieces like what you just said too. I know that we're always looking for topics within education that are more universal. And so if there are things on your mind that you would like me to take to that group, that they're also a good sounding board to bring back information. So.
Any other agenda items for June that we're saying Jill to add for unfinished business? One thing I just wanted to give a quick reminder that in July 15th and 16th is the Clinical Teaching Institute and the Kansas Nurse Educator Conference. And not to put Ashton on the spot, but are they still accepting abstracts for posters?
Yes, until tomorrow.
Okay, so July 15th and 16th at Newman in Wichita. And one thing I would strongly encourage is programs that maybe have a lot of new faculty or a lot of turnover. This is a great opportunity to network with your other nursing faculty and administrators from Kansas. It's a time to find mentors and friends, and there's always great discussions on breaks and lunches and dinners. Please, I know registration, again, Ashton, how long do they have to register till?
Oh, usually until like 15. Yeah, I mean.
The week
2 weeks
before,
before.
yeah.
Yeah, I think like the cutoff might be the 13th or something, but. As you walk.
Okay.
As you walk.
Even late with the fee, maybe, but anyway, I would really encourage those of you who have never sent faculty there or have new faculty, really try to get your faculty to that. It is always a great conference, and I think, you know, it's, when you look at some of these national conferences, it is very affordable rooms, affordable travel. So I would really encourage you, if you don't know how to get to the website, it's the Clinical Teaching Institute and then the Kansas Nurse Educator Conference. It's easily searchable on with a Google search. I found it very quickly. Most of you should have already gotten the emails. If you haven't, I'm sure Ashton would be happy to help you. Get that information, but I would really encourage, try to make that a priority to get some faculty to it because it's a great resource within our state. And I think my new faculty have always grown, but even my seasoned faculty who attended come back with pages of information and ideas. And I know AI was a big topic last year and
That's really good.
excellent. So, thank you for continuing to organize that for our state and host that at Newman, and please take advantage of it. So, great. Okay, anything else from the committee before we adjourn? Okay, we will be adjourning and we hope to see you all in June and board meeting tomorrow to send through it. Thank you.
Thank you.